Chapter 938, This Rhythm, Awesome. Chapter 938, This Rhythm, Awesome. At first, Long Fei didn't want to be disrespectful to the dead. He was not a member of the Desolate Spirit clan, so he did not know how to steal tombs. But the appearance of the skill exchange system, as well as the fact that it only existed for 12 hours, all depended on these 12 hours of time. Long Fei did not care about the God Emperor's graveyard, where the dead were the most important. In front of benefits, they were all dog shit. The key point was, Long Fei was completely unfamiliar with these people. Not familiar? Then do it. Since they were all monsters, and the system had activated the exchange system, then what was Long Fei afraid of? One word, fuck. Long Fei hacked a tombstone apart with his blade, causing the tombstone to explode as a powerhouse rushed out. Boom! Powerhouse rushed out of his tomb. His eyes turned sinister as he stared at Long Fei and shouted, "You little thief!" Without waiting for him to finish, Long Fei hacked down with his blade. "I'm your grandpa's thief." Boom! With the fall of the dragon Salyer, the wound on the head of the powerhouse immediately opened up, and Long Fei killed it instantly. Ding! When the system beep rang, Long Fei looked at it again in detail. It was the same as the sword demon, just now, at the 9th stage of the virtual immortals. If they are all of the 9th stage of the virtual immortals, then I will fight 100 of them. The aura on Long Fei's body moved, and the dragon Salyer in his hand released a blazing flame that cut horizontally. Bang, bang, bang. Over 100 tombstones have been destroyed by Long Fei. Boom, boom, boom. One after another, powerhouse after another rushed out from their tombs, standing in the air as they shouted, little thief. I was F. Astor's King Blind. I have no time. Hellcore, come out." Long Fei did not want to waste even a second of time. He did not want to cultivate now. He wanted experience now and skill redemption point. What do you mean by relying on your own strength? Boss, 1,000 ghost soldiers stood in front of Long Fei. Compared to a month ago, these ghost soldiers had become much stronger, to the point where 1 or 2 of them had already broken through to the Blood Immortal stage. In this period of time, these ghost soldiers felt as if they were celebrating the new year. Not only could it absorb the energy from the immortal crystals to cultivate, it could also absorb the energy from the variant crystal nuclei. Under the guidance of the Yin Huang ancestor, their progress was extremely fast. Long Fei said excitedly, "Blast all these so-called powerhouse-s to pieces." Ah! Hellcore stood up and shouted, then rushed towards 100 over powerhouse-s like a torrent of ferocious beasts. Long Fei was not idle. The dragon Salyer continued to sweep across, chopping apart large areas of tombstones and large areas of powerhouse rushing out from their tombs. Kill! The dragon Salyer in Long Fei's hand moved, hurricane cut. Chua! The dragon Salyer raised it, and a strong gust of wind swept out, directly blowing a large part of the powerhouse into the air. Dragon chop 1,000 slash. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Astor's dragon slaying dancing in the air. Long Fei also crazily danced in the air as he crazily killed his way through. The scene was extremely eye-catching. At the same time, Long Fei killed the 1,000 ghost soldiers. Their power exploded forth. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for slaying Virtual Immortals' 9th stage powerhouse. 1,500 experience, 10 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining skill redemption point +1. Nothing had been dropped, only a small amount of experience and skill redemption point. However, what Long Fei wanted was skill redemption point. The system frantically sounded out. 10 minutes later. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing first-rank powerhouse of the Blood Immortal stage, for obtaining 3,000 experience, 20 power of celestial, and 1 ability point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining skill redemption point +2. Suddenly, Long Fei immediately checked and found a problem. Just now, he had killed 100 of the 9th stage Virtual Immortals' powerhouse-s. In other words, the challenge of the 9th stage of the Virtual Immortals had ended. These powerhouse-s cultivations were now 1 level higher than the first stage of the Blood Immortal. In order to confirm this, Long Fei continuously killed them as he thought in his heart. As expected, the 100 Powerhouse S advanced to the same level. Their experience, power of Celestial, and skill redemption point were all increased by multiple folds. Haha, this endless cemetery is my heaven. Long Fei became even more excited. God Emperor Fairyland. It was a special existence. Long Fei himself was at the 9th stage of the virtual immortals, so from the first powerhouse to the first powerhouse, he would be at the 9th stage. As he succeeded in his challenge, the level of the powerhouse would continue to increase. Who? Long Fei exhaled a long breath and said, "Come." His aura exploded. Sky Tyrant Strike. Rumble. Long Fei arrogantly crashed into the group of powerhouse people, causing them all to fly into the air. The first stage of the Blood Immortal stage was one level higher than Long Fei. However, Long Fei still killed him instantly. 15 minutes later. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Blood Immortal 2nd stage powerhouse, for obtaining 6,000 experience, 40 power of Celestial, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining skill redemption point +4. Haha, it's getting more and more fun. With a lot of experience and skill redemption point, Long Fei became even more crazy. 2nd level Blood Immortal, still able to kill him in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. 1 hour later, these powerhouse were already at the 5th stage of the Blood Immortal stage. At this point, they were no longer able to withstand the attacks of these powerhouse. Long Fei also kept them. They were not invincible here, and the powerhouse could see their bodies. Rumble. With a loud noise, a large piece of the tombstone was blasted apart. Long Fei did not stop there. He continued to destroy the tombstones. Behind him, more and more powerhouse came rushing forward, hundreds and thousands of them, looking exceptionally fierce. Come chase me. Hurry up and chase me. Rumble. Long Fei smashed apart another large amount of tombstones. Seeing the large wave of powerhouse behind him, his eyes lit up. It's all skill redemption point. Rumble. For an entire half an hour, Long Fei continuously smashed these tombstones to pieces, and thousands of powerhouse S in the surroundings immediately chased after his buttocks. It was also at this time, Long Fei suddenly stopped, the corner of his mouth lifted, and excitedly laughed. Little Sister Fei, you can begin. Buzz. Fei flew out from the pearl. That body, that unique charm of the elves, was extremely vivid and beautiful. Fei held on her magic staff and chanted in a low voice, "Power of thunder, listen to my call, fall for me. Rumble, rumble, rumble." Thunder rumbled as lightning wildly raged down. A round of instant kills, the blood volume above each powerhouse instantly bottomed out. Hundreds of Blood Immortal Realm powerhouse were all crippled, killed in an instant. The system beep S echoed crazily. Long Fei looked at the experience tank, which was abnormally full. This is great. Chapter 939, Gravity Troll Fire. Chapter 939, Gravity Troll Fire Fei. Another wave has arrived. Equipment. Long Fei suddenly roared. He had been chased by a large wave of powerhouse, and now these powerhouse were about to break through the golden immortal rank. Moreover, some of the powerhouse S had already reached the golden immortal rank. Long Fei cannot bear it. Fei was also a little unable to endure it. Power of thunder, heed my call. Boom! The huge lightning field rumbled, and a thick bolt of lightning struck down, causing a large wave of powerhouse S to be unable to take care of themselves. But they did not die instantly, nor did they receive any heavy injuries. It had only lost a portion of its HP. Fei angrily said, "Master, they are too strong. I haven't even finished cultivating the power of the thunder element." About that. I'll leave first." Fei was a little depressed and unwilling, and she said fiercely in her heart, "I must become stronger." She was hit. After being attacked by these powerhouse S, she thought that direct lightning was omnipotent, but now she realized how weak she was. Long Fei's heart trembled. "Fei, don't go." Fei had already been transferred into the Thunder Dragon Pearl. It was also at this time, surrounded by hundreds of powerhouse. Long Fei stared at him with murderous eyes, as if they wanted to eat him alive. Flee. Why aren't you running anymore? Discharge. Why aren't you continuing to discharge? Brat, I want to see where you can run to. A of the Golden Immortal rank gasped for breath. He was in a bad mood because of Long Fei. All the surrounding powerhouse were the same. Many of the powerhouse S had their hair blown apart. Their hair was like chicken nests, and each one of them was out of the mainstream as they were in an extremely sorry state. Run again. Die. As soon as his voice fell, everyone stood up and shouted, "Kill him." With one step, the powerhouse S all stepped forward. Long Fei smirked and laughed coldly. Kill me? Just you all. Do you all think you're amazing just because your level is high? This daddy here cannot bear to see someone who is so powerful in front of me. Very arrogant. Long Fei said in his heart. Helcor used it. Fei used it now. Giant demon. The seal on you is broken through, right? Giant demon's voice echoed from the 18 hells. Master, I have been waiting for your summons. The gravity troll could not wait any longer. Long Fei laughed excitedly and said, Then let me experience your power that is unrestrained. Come, let me show these super powerhouse that once ruled this world. Yes, sir. At the same time, the powerhouse pounced towards Xiang Longfei. Rumble, rumble. With a series of explosions, an incomparably gigantic devil appeared beside Long Fei. With its arms wrapped with chains of seal, its eyes darkened, and a whirlpool-like aura faintly moved around its body. The moment it came out, the tombstones slowly floated up as shattered stones floated up in the air, and even the bodies of the powerhouses seemed to be on the verge of losing control and rising into the air. Long Fei said casually, Kill them all. The gravity troll laughed sinisterly. Understood. 10,000 times gravity. Gravity bullet. Explode. With an angered shout, the spiraling aura on his body immediately burst forth, enveloping all of the surrounding powerhouse. At this moment, all of the powerhouse's body strength was lifted, and in that instant, boom, 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 one after another, their bodies exploded into fine powder. Not even their bones were left behind. Many of these powerhouses have cultivation base of Golden Immortal rank, but after being crushed by the Gravity Troll's chi, the seal was released and the Gravity Troll's power recovered to the peak realm. Powerful to the point of being a complete mess. Ding, 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 ding. The system beep frantically sounded deafening, as though its eardrums were about to explode. Long Fei laughed out loud. You want my life? Are you even worthy? The increase in experience points by tons was only. Long Fei did not have a rank 5 immortal root yet, so he was unable to level up. However, Long Fei was not worried. Although he was restricted from leveling up, he still had a lot of experience points. As long as he fused with the Immortal Foundation, he would be able to continuously break through. It could not be upgraded, but the experience was still there. It was just that Long Fei could not obtain stronger power until he leveled up. It doesn't matter anymore. What I want is skill redemption point. Long Fei's mind was set as he roared. Giant demons swipe, swipe, swipe everything here away. In the past few hours, Long Fei had swept across a large area, but compared to the entire God Emperor's graveyard, it was just the tip of the iceberg. Continue, continue. It's 38,000 skill redemption point. What demon fruit? What blood wheel's eye? If I want to exchange, I'll exchange for a set of skills from the Undying series. Long Fei didn't want anything else. He just wanted. This was the skill of the Barbarian King. 5 seconds for a real man. The Gravity Troll crazily swept everything. The powerhouse of the Golden Immortal rank was not his match at all. Long Fei was stunned by the Gravity Troll's power. He inwardly rejoiced that he had not stolen the 10 holy token question of Goddess for nothing. At the same time, Long Fei moved and said, Lei-mo. Lei-mo's eyes shook as she became excited. Master, Long Fei said, try to think of a way to break the tombstones in this cemetery as much as possible. Beat as many tombstones as you can. Lei Mo didn't know what Long Fei was going to do, but he was still very excited. Understood. Be it the gravity troll or Lei Mo, they belonged to the demons in the 18 hells, and they all had a time limit on their appearance. As the time to appear on the stage increased from the original 5 minutes to 15 minutes, it became too short for Long Fei. Right now, he needed experience too much and skills and exchange value too much. If their time was up, Long Fei would probably have to pay an extremely heavy price to kill any one of the powerhouse. Thus, he had to think of a good countermeasure, a strategy at all costs. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Golden Immortal Stage Level 4 Powerhouse for obtaining 160,000 experience, 1,200 power of celestial points, and 1 energy values point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining skill redemption point plus 64 points. It did not increase exponentially like it did at the beginning, but the experience was already quite abundant. Heavenly Level Instance Dungeon. It was a heavenly place to gain experience. Long Fei would not miss it. He definitely wouldn't miss it. 15 minutes later, they covered the sky with their Powerhouse S. These Powerhouse S were all at the peak of the Golden Immortal Realm, and there were even Powerhouse of the Yuan Xian Realm. Master, my time is almost up. Seeing so many Powerhouse, the gravity troll started to worry for Long Fei. Chapter 940. Exchange point, what's good about it? Chapter 940. Exchange point, what's good about it? Too much. At least 4 or 5,000. Once these powerhouse erupted, they would use the Yuan Xian S and the Fitted Realm S to crush them. If even the Golden Immortal Long Fei could not resist it, there was no need to talk about the Yuan Xian and the Fitted Realm's powerhouse. However, Long Fei was not afraid at all. He was still laughing excitedly. This is great. Gravity Troll was startled and asked, Master, what do we do? It's too dangerous. Why don't I? Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei said directly, return to the 18th floor of hell. Leave the rest to me. The Gravity Troll wanted to resist on time. This would cause a blow to his cultivation and affect his future breakthrough. From the day he entered the 18 levels of hell, he was Long Fei's brother. Long Fei would never take his brother's future as a joke. The two of you go back. Long Fei didn't wait for them to resist and immediately moved the two of them back into the 18 levels of hell. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The surrounding densely packed powerhouse surrounded Long Fei. From a 9th stage of the virtual immortals to the current Fitted Realm. That also meant that Long Fei's challenge was an entire 30 to 40 levels higher. Of course, other than, the rest of the time was spent on killing Hellcore, Fei-er, and the giant demon. It was impossible for Long Fei to reach this step with his own strength. They took turns. Whose turn was it now? The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted slightly, and he laughed excitedly. The ideas that were linked to the Xianbao spirit stones did not have any hesitation, and he roared out, Explode! Ding! System notification. The Xianbao spirit stones will be activated the 2nd time, 8 more times. As the voice fell, Long Fei's power of celestial value instantly increased by 1,000,000 points, and in that instant, Long Fei also heavily roared out, Turn Yin Long into God. Come out! Roar! With a furious dragon's roar, Long Fei's body turned into a ball of flame. The flames ignited, and in the blink of an eye, Long Fei's body also turned into a super huge flame dragon ancestor. Standing in midair, Long Fei stared at the powerhouse and became excited. Kill! Those powerhouses simply did not have time to react. They cannot react in time. Who would have thought that a 9th stage virtual immortals realm human would suddenly turn into an extremely frenzied flame dragon patriarch? Mad explode. With a move of the dragon's might, the sky started to split, and with a heavy stomp, those powerhouses were immediately destroyed. The system beep echoed crazily. The experience points of each powerhouse rose to 280,000, and the skill redemption point also increased to 98. Thousands of powerhouses were being chased around the world by Ancestor Yanlong. It was them who were chasing after Long Fei previously, But now it was Long Fei's turn to chase after them. It was a total massacre. They could barely resist the Yuan Xian, but it could only do so as it could not withstand the fire dragon ancestors' dragon might at all. As they continued to kill, the realm of these powerhouses continued to increase. An hour passed. 2 hours passed. 5 hours passed. Long Fei did not stop there. Seeing that the system's countdown timer was getting fewer and fewer, Long Fei started moving faster and faster. Qiu Wandao, an elderly in green, had been guarding the walls of the 9 Dragons' wall the entire time, as they waited for Long Fei to come out. It's been more than 11 hours. Why hasn't the young master come out yet? Could something have happened? Elderly in green paced back and forth. He was very anxious. Not just him. Qiu Wandao was equally anxious. Back then, Master only went in for half a minute before coming out. This time, young Master went in for 11 hours, if he met with any danger. He didn't dare think about it. The elderly in green said, "If anything happens to young Master, we cannot afford it. He is the Long family's only hope, and also the old Master's only hope." Long Fei could not afford to let anything happen to him. He was the hope for the rise of the Long family. It was also the hope for him to solve all of these mysteries. If something were to happen to Long Fei, even the Long family would probably be destroyed. The 2 elders were extremely worried. Palace question of God. 19 shook his head and said, "Supreme God, I've checked." When Long Fei came to Qiu Wandao's courtyard, he disappeared without a trace. He didn't go down the mountain either. I don't even know where he went. Supreme God was still staring at the great void mirror, his eyebrows locked tightly. Could something have happened? 19 asked again, could it be that they were worried about today's finals and all of them escaped? No way. The Supreme God immediately denied it and said, "Long Fei is different from other people. I understand the people from the Long family very well. Even if they die, they will not admit defeat, and even more so, they will not flee. All right, you don't need to investigate it anymore. I believe you will definitely appear in the finals today." Supreme God was worried, but there was nothing he could do. He could only hope that nothing bad had happened to Long Fei. Long Fei was also his hope, the hope to break through the limit of his lifespan. In logistics department, at the same time, there were a lot of people who were worried about Long Fei. In the yard, Song Qianqian looked at the sky that was already bright and muttered, "The sky is about to brighten, and a new day is about to begin." Long Fei did not return. She had not slept a single night, as she lay on her bed tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. The more Long Fei did not come back, the more worried she became. Today would be the God Emperor Academy's finals. Team competition, alchemy competition, and even personal qualifying fight competition. How much pressure was on Long Fei's body? Song Qianqian could imagine. Sister Qian, senior brother Long Fei will be fine. Linglong did not sleep well either, and muttered as she walked to Song Qianqian's side. Man Toaluo also walked out. She did not sleep and spent the entire night cultivating, trying to break through the poison spirit immortal root in her body. She said, "Young Master Long has never given up." Next, Xiao Ying, Aoya, Han Xueji, and the others also walked to the courtyard. She quietly waited for Long Fei to come back and for the sun to rise. Long Fei had not returned throughout the night. They were extremely worried, afraid that something would happen to Long Fei. But Long Fei, ha ha, ha, Long Fei was grinning from ear to ear. "Your experience points has already reached 3 billion. What level can you reach?" "Wow, once I absorb a Tier 5 Immortal Foundation, when I have to fly?" Long Fei needed tens of millions of experience points to level up. If he were to release all 3 billion experience points, it would be a huge blow to him. EXP bar. In addition, Long Fei was now more concerned about the skill redemption point. 108,700 points. What could be exchanged for? What could be exchanged for? Time was running out, and it was already dawn. The martial arts arena was already packed with people. There were even more people than 2 days ago. The people of the 18 matrial halls had also appeared in the martial arts arena earlier, and today was the finals, which was also a very important day. To Ouyang Zhan, This was the day of his revenge. To Pan Zhan, this was an unshakable day. The boss hasn't come back yet? Shen Tianfei said anxiously. Song Qianqian said, let's go to the training grounds first. Long Fei will definitely be there. At the same time, in the last minute, Long Fei's heart stirred, and he thought to himself, since I can't care about all that, I'll just exchange for it. Ding! Chapter 941, Despicable and Shameless. Chapter 941, Despicable and Shameless. Why hasn't boss arrived yet? Senior brother Dao Feng, what did boss say to you last night? Why hasn't boss appeared yet? Chen Tianfei frowned, his expression anxious. The match was about to begin. However, until now, Long Fei still hadn't appeared. Dao Feng said, Young Master Long, tell us to go first. He did not say where we are going. At this time, Sun Data ran back while gasping for breath, and everyone looked at him. Sun Datu shook his head. I can't find Young Master Long. Chen Tianfei immediately took a step forward and asked, Have you seen Presbyter Chiu? They should know where the boss has gone to. Sun Datu shook his head and said, We didn't find them either. God Emperor Fairyland was an extremely secretive place. Not to mention Sun Datu, even the 19 last night could not find a location of Presbyter Chiu and Elderly in Green. Song Qianqian frowned. Where did you go in the end? They were all secretly anxious. Song Qianqian exhaled, his gaze firm as he said, Long Fei is not here, but I believe he will definitely rush over. Right now, we must act as if nothing happened and not let Ouyang Zhan and the others see through our weakness. Also, if the young Master Long is not here, we absolutely cannot lose today's competition. Long Fei was under too much pressure. Song Qianqian didn't know how to share the burden for Long Fei, so the only thing she could do was to help Long Fei and win the match. Everyone looked at Song Qianqian and nodded heavily. Everyone became full of fighting spirit. For boss, it's also for yourself. F***CK. In the stands, Lu Chongkong asked lightly, Why didn't I see Long Fei, that brat, appear? Ouyang Zhan also thought that it was strange, but he did not give it much thought and replied, Don't worry, he will definitely appear. I've checked the records of the patrols yesterday. He hasn't left the God Emperor Academy. He can't escape. Ouyang Zhan also did not know where Long Fei had gone to, but he did not care about that. He only cared about how Long Fei would die today. Xiao Tianwu said slightly, Could this be Long Fei's scheme? Could he be hiding in the shadows and seeing the sequence of the battle? Disappearing was a method, because once they thought that Long Fei had disappeared, they would not target Long Fei at all. The timing of Alchemy and Battle Team ranking tournament might change too. This way, when it was open, Long Fei would be able to participate in 2 matches at the same time. Ouyang Zhan sneered. You want to deceive us with such a small trick? Team competition will go first. Hold the alchemy competition first, so that Long Fei does not have the chance to participate in the team competition. Ouyang Zhan quickly made his decision. Only by doing this could Long Fei be unable to participate in both matches at the same time. He was still fiercely targeted. Gao! Brother Ouyang, you're really amazing. Whether or not Long Fei appears, he will not be allowed to participate in 2 matches at the same time. Many of the Academy elders smiled proudly. Ouyang Zhan slightly narrowed his eyes and muttered to himself, Today, I will definitely kill you and everyone else by your side. They will all have to accompany my son in death. Today is the day of the finals. Alchemy, Battle Team, Refining, and so on and so forth and so forth and so on and so forth and so forth and so forth and so forth and so on and so forth and so on and so forth and so but the focus of the crowd is still on the ranking tournament of the individual battles. Who is the number 1 disciple of the God Emperor Academy? Today, the God's General will be born. Let's wait and see. The referee excitedly said. Following that, under Ouyang Zhan's arrangements, he continued. Next, we will proceed to the first round of team competition, which is also the semifinals. The Blackstone screen began to scroll. A few seconds later, Arrogant Dragon Squad against the Vermilion Bird Battle Team. Please enter the arena with your two teams. It's finally about to begin. Who would become the #1 team of team competition in the finals? Discussions are going on in the stands. Song Qianqian said, Fatty, Dao Feng, Wang Qingshan, Han Shueji, and me, I will go up first and follow the tactics that Long Fei has arranged. The five nodded their heads heavily, and then Song Qianqian brought the four of them to the stage. Long Fei still hasn't appeared. He still hasn't appeared at this time. Ouyang Zhan sneered, his gaze sweeping across the entire audience, and said, I'll see how long you can hide. And then Ouyang Zhan looked at Lu Chongkong and said, Have you all settled the things I've asked you to do? Lu Chongkong laughed sinisterly and said, I've already given you my word. Don't worry. You will die in this competition. Vermilion Bird Squadron. All of them had the cultivation base of the Blood Immortal Realm. Of the 3 sword cultivators, one trained in formations and the other focused on defense. It was different from yesterday. Of the 2 people in the Vermilion Bird Battle team, the Array Formation Disciples and the Defensive Disciples were both newcomers. To be exact, they should be people from other college of martial arts training. In the arena, Dao Feng stared at the 2 of them and said, Senior brother of Qingsheng, aren't you a member of the Array College of Martial Arts Training? That person is also a high-ranking disciple of the Black Tortoise College of Martial Arts Training. 2 of the members of the Vermilion Bird Battle team were from other college of martial arts training. Qing Chung laughed coldly and said, Do I need to tell you that I'm someone from some college of martial arts training? I just joined a Rosefinch Martial Art College last night. Is that not okay? Dao Feng's forehead turned sinister as he said in a low voice, Everyone be careful. This person's formation is extremely strange, and he has the title of the #1 disciple in the court. That disciple of the profound college of martial arts training must also be careful. His defense is very strong. Han Shueji also reminded her in a low voice. Song Qianqian's brain spun as he flew, saying, Fatty, you are in charge of blocking the 3 disciples of the Rosefinch Martial Art College. Dao Feng, you are in charge of attacking that formation disciple. The remaining people will work together to deal with that disciple from the College of Martial Arts Training. Understood, everyone whispered. For the 5 members of the battle squad, first kill support. Buzz. The boundary on the stage opened up. The referee, Elder, loudly announced, The semifinals of the team ranking tournament will begin now. The entire audience quieted down as they stared at the arena with wide eyes. The 3 disciples of Rosefinch Martial Art College moved at the same time, the 3 swords instantly striking towards Song Qianqian. Song Qianqian was not afraid. Chun Tianfei took a step forward and said, Bullying our boss's woman. Do you all want to die? Boom! A thick layer of defense was released as Chun Tianfei rushed forward. The moment of his weakness. That Array Court disciple revealed a sneer. Ha ha! Dao Feng's heart sank. This is bad. Fatty, be careful. Although Chun Tianfei was fat and arrogant, he was also very meticulous. The moment he landed, he felt that something was amiss. Zhang Xian's body jolted, and he wanted to fly backward. However, it was already too late. His body felt like it had fallen into a swamp, directly binding his body. The more he struggled, the more he sank, and his defensive power was completely useless at this moment. This formation had been set up since last night. It was used to deal with Chun Tianfei's heaven-defying defense. Once they bound him down, the remaining 4 would be easy to deal with. Song Qianqian became angry between his brows and shouted out, You guys are too despicable. Chapter 942, Assault Power. Chapter 942, Assault Power. Despicable. Right. We're despicable, so what? A Rosefinch Martial Art College disciple laughed complacently, extremely pleased with himself. He succeeded in one move. Everything was as Ouyang Zhan had planned. First, he tied up Chun Tianfei, and then he dealt with the other 4 people. Chun Tianfei struggled with all his might, but he did not understand much about the power of formations. The more he struggled, the stronger the mud-like binding force became. The formation disciple laughed with pride and said, "You won't be able to break through, huh?" Song Qianqian's forehead turned sinister as he said, "Save the fatty first." At the same time, he rushed towards Fatty. Fat Minchin shouted, "Don't worry about me." It was also at this time. The corners of the Black Tortoise College of Martial Arts training disciples' mouths slightly hooked up. "What can I do that I can't lose?" "Defend. If you don't die, you will not lose." Boom! The power from his body exploded out, forming a defensive wall that was like the reappearance of the earth. Bam! The attacks of the four were instantly blocked, and all of them were received by him alone. The path of defense was one of immortality. The four were blasted away. That Black Tortoise disciple said complacently, "The three senior brothers are at this time." Bang, bang, bang. As soon as he finished, his defensive wall suddenly moved quickly. Three disciples of Rosefinch Martial Art College followed behind him and rushed forward quickly. Song Qianqian's celestial Yin sword struck out crazily, but it was completely useless. Her attacks were indeed sharp, but when it came to defense shields, they were all blocked by the Black Tortoise disciple. "All of you will die." The defensive wall swiftly pushed forward, and the four of them swiftly retreated. The Fat Minchin shouted, "Four, jump out." Don't stay within the range of his defensive wall. The distance between them became shorter and shorter. If they did not jump out, they would be stuck at the boundary, and that way, the four of them would become live targets, killed by the three Rosefinch Martial Art College disciples. While the fatty was speaking, the array disciple sneered and said, "You'd better take care of yourself first." As soon as he finished, the formation suddenly changed. Chun Tianfei felt as though the sky above him was collapsing. It ruthlessly smashed down towards him. His mind, his sea of consciousness, started to stir frantically. He could not handle it. Uff! Fat Man Chun spat out a mouthful of blood. It was also at this moment. Song Qianqian and the other three were about to be hit on the wall of the boundary. It's over. Arrogant Dragon Squad is going to lose. Compared to the four Matrial Halls' team, they are still too weak. The first few wins were all because they were caught off guard. After their strength was exposed, they would be targeted. This is a real team, not a personal show. Team competition. It was a team competition. It was useless for one person to be strong. The defenses of the Fat Minchin was being suppressed. Dao Feng and Song Qianqian were unable to unleash their attacks and were instantly forced into a corner. In a situation where they had nowhere to retreat to, they would only become live targets to be slaughtered. What a guild needed was cooperation. In terms of coordination, Arrogant Dragon Squad was too weak. The stands were filled with sighs. As a dark horse, the advance of the Arrogant Dragon Squad was halted here. Ha ha ha! Arrogant Dragon Squad? This time, we're going to make him wipe out his entire team. Lu Chongkong laughed complacently, and at the same time, said to Ouyang Zhan, "Brother Ouyang, you're still the best. If you didn't send someone to equip the array in advance to bind that fatty, it probably wouldn't have been this easy to win." Ouyang Zhan laughed coldly and said, "Even he, Long Fei, wants to fight us? Is he qualified? Do you have the strength to do so? Playing with him is like playing with a dog." This place was the God Emperor Academy. It was Ouyang Zhan's territory. He could play however he wanted, but Long Fei did not have the qualifications to fight against him. In the first 2 days, he thought that the Pan family would deal a heavy blow to Long Fei, but he realized that he was wrong. There was only one thing he wanted to do. He used every method at his disposal to hit Long Fei and suppress him fiercely. Even if Long Fei kills his son, he will make Long Fei suffer 1,000 times more. Thus, he did everything he could. The people of this world would only remember the powerhouse and would not care about his methods. This was reality, although many people knew that the array was set up in advance. So what? Who would dare to say? So what if he said it? The reason of the week. Ouyang Zhan squinted his eyes. They were filled with dense killing intent as he said, "Long Fei, I want all of your people to die here today. I want you to be wiped out. Just you wait. This is only the beginning." Ouyang Zhan glanced at Pan Zhan, who was on the stage, and snorted coldly in his heart. "Pan Zhan, Use me as a spear user and kill my son. I won't care about any personal qualifying fight. Don't even think about stopping my path of revenge today. At the exit of God Emperor Fairyland. Buzz! The 9 dragons on the wall became sinister. The wall suddenly shot out a ray of light, causing Long Fei to be pushed out. Huff! Long Fei heaved a heavy sigh. Damn, I nearly died inside. The death of the powerhouse of the peak realm of the Unity Immortal is too terrifying. Long Fei said with a lingering fear in his heart. Just now, when God Emperor Fairyland was exchanging techniques, several life-threatening attacked him. He simply cannot endure it. Qiu Wandao, an elderly in green, were finally relieved when they saw that Long Fei's heart was hanging at the tip of his throat. Long Fei looked at them and immediately asked, "What time is it now? Has the team competition already started?" Qiu Wandao said, "It started long ago." Long Fei frowned and said, "This is bad." Then Qiu Wandao smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry, their strength is greater than anyone could imagine. There are only 3 of them on the stage." That kind of combination attack was really strong. Last time, he was able to repel even Powerhouse, who was at the Yuan Xian realm. Team competition of a mere disciple of an academy? It was not a problem at all. Long Fei looked at the 2 mysterious elders and asked, "What kind of power do I not know?" Qiu Wandao laughed. "Strong power." Elderly in green said, "Your father's power." Long Fei's eyes shook. "My father," Qiu Wandao said, "don't ask so much. Hurry up and go to the martial arts practice grounds. If you appear, their strength will definitely increase." Long Fei didn't have much time to think about it. Team competition felt uneasy in his heart. "I hope nothing bad happens. Presbyter Qiu, the 2 of you, do me a favor. Go to God Emperor City's God's Phoenix Pavilion." After he finished speaking, Long Fei quickly flew towards the direction of the training grounds. At the same time, Dao Feng looked at Han Xueji and then looked at Wang Qingshan. Wang Qingshan nodded his head and said, "Senior brother, senior sister, come. Let them witness our true strength." Chapter 943. Chapter 943, he had been forced into a corner. Dao Feng and the others had no choice. Chun Tianfei also roared out, "Let the 8 generations of his ancestors do it." As soon as he finished, Dao Feng and Han Xueji suddenly used a burst of power from their bodies and immediately charged into Wang Qingshan's body. At this moment, Wang Qingshan raised his eyes, sword drawing style. Boom! His sword struck out, shocking both the gods and the demons. This strike was as fast as lightning, even faster than lightning. Chua! 1 sword and 1 sleigh. The thick shield wall was pierced through with a sword strike. Immediately after, the Black Tortoise College of Martial Arts training disciples' throat turned red and his eyes glazed over. And this is not the end. A single sword strike had pierced through the throat of the disciples of the College of Martial Arts Training while Wang Qingshan's figure had also came out. Chua! With another slash, the 3 disciples of Rosefinch Martial Art College also felt their throats turn red and did not dare to move an inch. It hasn't stopped yet. Wang Qingshan's figure continued to fly out, charging toward the College of Martial Arts training disciples who were at the back, and piercing his throat with his sword. Boom! Wang Qingshan's long sword was slightly inserted into the sheath. Raising his eyes, he looked at Ouyang Zhan, who was on the viewing platform. Lu Changkong and the elders from the College of Martial Arts Training, as well as the principal, spoke with an arrogant voice. "All of you die." Bam! Bang, bang, bang. With 5 consecutive sounds, the throat of the 5 members of the Vermilion Burr battle team burst open. Blood spurted out from their mouths as they fell to the ground dead. A single slash had killed 5 people. This power, it was such a big deal. Moreover, this sword strike was too fast. Even Ouyang Zhan and the rest could not react in time. Seeing what was happening in the arena, many people's minds began to twist. They couldn't even react to what was happening. How could this be? Why would they kill back? What was the power of that sword? I don't understand. He didn't understand at all. Ouyang Zhan's scalp was tingling as he stared at the 5 people on the stage. They felt like they were strangers, Were they the students of the God Emperor Academy? Why is there such a powerful force? Why he didn't understand it all. That sword, would he be able to withstand it? Everyone thought that arrogant dragon squad had more or less revealed his true strength and that he no longer had any more power. The explosion of the sword just now made them realize that they were wrong. For half a minute, the entire training field was silent. Even the Fairy Hall Elder S couldn't say a word, so they couldn't understand what kind of power it was. Wang Qingshan roared out, "So what if it's targeted? So what if I become enemies with the entire God Emperor Academy?" "You want to stop the arrogant dragon squad?" No one, Wang Qingshan, who had always been low-key, also roared. His voice ignited the entire audience. That sword attack was too powerful. Damn, how did he do that? 5 members of the Vermilion Bird battle team were instantly killed. This is too unbelievable. Just what kind of background do these people have? Too powerful. Song Qianqian looked at them all, and his heart tensed up. They're really strong. Fat Minshin struggled out of the array and walked to Wang Qingshan's side, pretending to be excited. In reality, he was supporting Wang Qingshan and said in a low voice, "Brother, hold it." That kind of power was something they couldn't withstand right now. Once released, they could create powerful attacks, but they would also receive heavy injuries. Wang Qingshan's mind, consciousness, and organs were severely injured, but he did not reveal it. Instead, he used a wild roar to cover up the pain. Wang Qingshan's body slightly trembled as he said excitedly, "So being arrogant is so great. Haha. Arrogant Dragon squad wins. Let's enter the finals. Next match, team competition will be fighting with the Black Tortoise battle team." The referee's voice faded. Song Qianqian's arrogant dragon squad did not even have the time to walk down the stage before the referee elder's voice sounded again. Black Tortoise squad admits defeat. Green Dragon Troopers wins, enter the finals. Team competition will be competing in the finals. 2 teams are invited to enter, without giving Song Qianqian and the others any chance to breathe. Ouyang Zhan coldly snorted, "Let's see how long you can continue being so arrogant for. Come on, continue." Ouyang Zhan angrily roared out, "Green Dragon Troopers, Disciple is here." The 5 of them stood in midair and roared. They were the strongest team, as well as the top geniuses of the God Emperor Academy, and all of their cultivations were blood immortal peak realm. The 5 of them had all reached the level of elders. There was even the possibility of them entering the outer space palace. Ouyang Zhan looked at the 5 of them and said, "Kill them." There was no taboo. The 5 of them lowered their voices and said in unison, "As you command." The 5 of them moved through the air and landed steadily on the stage. What was worth noting was that this time, there were no twins as Sun Dadu had said. The 5 of them were all senior disciples, and 3 of them were the top 5 disciples of last year's personal qualifying fight. Very strong, an extremely strong team. Song Qianqian frowned, the pressure in his heart becoming more and more intense. He shouted, "Isn't this competition a bit too unfair?" "Fair? Ha! This is the God Emperor Academy. What I say is what I want. Are you telling me that's unfair? Then don't compete." Ouyang Zhan laughed coldly. Lu Chankong also sneered and said, "Fairness is only an excuse for the weak. Since your arrogant dragon squad is so arrogant and despotic, then what are you afraid of? Continue." Ouyang Zhan's gaze swept across the entire audience and said, "Long Fei, I know that you're hiding in a corner, and I definitely won't allow you to participate in 2 matches at the same time. You just have to watch your brother with your own eyes. Your woman should really be on the stage, haha." His voice caused a wave of murmurs. However, just as Ouyang Zhan had said, no one would remember the loser. They would only remember the powerhouse, and this was an era where the powerhouse was respected. Weak? No one would ever mention it. "I'll give you 1 minute to prepare. If you don't enter the arena after 1 minute, you'll have to give up," the referee said. Fat Min Shun shouted in annoyance, "This is F*King bullying." Ouyang Zhan acted as if he was going to bully you and make you unhappy just because it was directed at you. Song Qianqian said, "The more they target us, the more we must win, and we must not lose face for Long Fei." The final match. I will give up my seat. Man Toaluo, you go. Song Chantian said. She was the one with the strongest cultivation out of all of them, and also the one with the strongest attack power. However, S sword attack just now had let her know that during their 2 months of training, she had cultivated an extremely strong offensive strength that she was unable to fuse with. Chun Tianfei said, Wang Qingshan is almost unable to hold on. Song Chantian looked at Xiao Ying and said, You shall replace Wang Qingshan. Xiao Ying nodded his head heavily. All right. Chapter 944, Tian Luo Formation. Chapter 944, Tian Luo Formation. Song Chantian left the seat. Arrogant Dragon Squad returned to its original state. However, they were all members of the 2-month training camp, and there was a connection between their strength. Only together could they unleash their power. Song Chantian said, As the leader, Dao Feng will listen to him. On the stage, you must be careful, you must not be reckless. If one was able to set up a formation in advance, he would be able to prepare all kinds of schemes beforehand. Ouyang Zhan did not care what methods he might use to obtain his goal. Everything was ready. Dao Feng, Chun Tianfei, Han Xueji, Man Tuoyuo, and Xiaoying all entered the stage. At this moment, the 5 green dragon troopers descended from midair and stood on the stage, revealing cold smiles as they watched Fat Man Chun and the rest enter the stage. A bunch of trash. The 5 of them were all at Virtual Immortals stage. In terms of cultivation level, they were an entire realm lower than the people from the Green Dragon Troopers. The difference in strength was like the difference between heaven and earth. First team, Green Dragon Troopers. Last year, there was not a single loss in this year's team ranking tournament. Green Dragon Troopers' people are all Blood Immortal Peak realm. Their strengths are way stronger than the Vermilion Bird Battle team's people. Arrogant Dragon Squad is definitely not a match for them. However, since the Arrogant Dragon Squad was able to make it to this point, they can already create history. A team formed by a fist of service disciples is simply unable to make it onto the stage. This kind of team, I'm afraid that our group will be wiped out on stage today. The Green Dragon Troopers was really too strong. However, this was not the main point. The principal of the Formation College of Martial Arts Training walked over to Ouyang Zhan and smiled. Brother Ouyang, everything has been prepared. The principal of the Spirit Poison College of Martial Arts Training also walked up and said with a smile, When formations are activated and spirit poisons are released, they will lose their power in an instant and become dead dogs one by one. The 3 chairmen laughed out loud complacently. Ouyang Zhan said, The competition with the Vermilion Bird Battle team is just an appetizer. Since you still have strength that you did not reveal, then don't even think about exploding it today. Although God Emperor Academy didn't have one. However, Ouyang Zhan covered the sky with one hand and did some simple things on the stage. Just you wait. This time, we'll definitely wipe out your entire team. Ouyang Zhan laughed coldly as he watched Chen Tianfei and the others enter the stage. Long Fei, you are really patient. You haven't appeared even at this time? Long Fei was frantically rushing over. Buzz, Boundary on the stage, closed his eyes. The match begins. The moment the referee's voice fell, Dao Feng said without any hesitation, Quick decision. Use your big move right now. Understood. The 5 of them immediately moved. The energy between them was released and linked into a net, which then surged into Dao Feng's body. Without waiting for Green Dragon Troopers to make a move, Dao Feng took a step forward. Shua! The 2 scimitars in his hands moved, and his body suddenly disappeared. He could only sense an endless amount of blade intent from the arena, which was very strong. His figure disappeared. He's disappeared. Where did you go? Is it new power? All sorts of discussions sounded out in the spectators' area. They were all guessing what kind of power Dao Feng was releasing. Why did it suddenly disappear? It was extremely strange. This was the most primitive power in Dao Feng's body. At the same time, it was also one of his blend of Fairy Vein S, the Invisible Immortal Root. With speed combined with the power of the Invisibility Immortal Foundation, Dao Feng had hidden himself in the air and was the first to attack. Shwa! In half a second, the curved blade moved and slashed towards the Green Dragon Troopers' team leader's neck. The cold light was poisonous. The scimitar moved like lightning. The expression of the leader of the Green Dragon Troopers sunk. It was almost impossible to dodge, but it was also at this moment. A member behind him slapped the ground with one hand, breaking seal with his palm. A dense array of runes spread out and covered the entire arena. Heaven's Net formation. Open up. The battle with the Vermilion Bird formation had only trapped one person from Fat Men Chun. It was only a small-scale formation. It was a large formation. At the same time as the array was activated, thin white smoke floated up from the array. Man Toaluo shouted loudly, "There's poison." Also at this instant, the power in Dao Feng's body began to quickly shrink back. The curved blade in his hand was just half a centimeter away from the Green Dragon Trooper's captain's neck. However, the distance of half a centimeter became like 1,000 miles in the blink of an eye. A sneak attack. You deserve it too. Both of his fists formed a palm. His footsteps moved, his figure landed behind Dao Feng. Both of his palms struck out. One palm had sent Dao Feng flying, landing beside the three members of the Green Dragon Troopers. The three of them sneered at Dao Feng, staring at him coldly with scornful eyes. How does it feel to be a sneak attack? It's great, isn't it? As soon as he finished, the three of them attacked at the same time. Bang, bang, bang. Dao Feng was flung into the air, one palm striking the stomach pubes, one palm striking the chest and heart, one palm striking the top of his head. Three palms struck out, and the sound of a dragon's roar resounded in the air. Bam! Dao Feng landed heavily on the ground, spitting out a mouthful of black blood. His face was pale to the extreme, and just as he was about to get up from the ground, he was stomped hard on the ground by the Green Dragon Squadron leader. Dao Feng, just lie on the ground obediently. The leader of the dragon group sneered. His heart was also filled with lingering fear. If not for the instant when Dao Feng retracted his power, he would have already become a dead man. He stepped on Dao Feng's head with all the strength he could muster and stared at Chen Tianfei and the other three. Then he laughed. There are still the four of you. I'll do it. Chen Tianfei was enraged. The divine armor on his body released a buzzing sound. Divine armor began to buzz. Without waiting for Han Shueji and the other two to agree, he held his breath and directly absorbed the energy. With a heavy stride like thunder, he rushed forward and said, Come at me if you dare. In another place, Zheng Qingsong's mind was thinking frantically, formation, Heaven's Net formation. How do I break it? How do I break it? If they were unable to break the formation, then Chen Tianfei and the rest power would be quickly removed, and they would be killed no matter how strong Fatty was. The stronger the power he released, the faster he could absorb it. In the end, he would even be able to suppress the power of the Immortal Foundation. Formation aperture, formation aperture. Zheng Qingsong's mind was frantically replaying the scene of when the formation array was activated. In order to break the formation, one must first find the eye of the formation array. The stage is created by a boundary array. If the array formation is not created by the same person, then the two array formations will clash. The formation aperture is definitely not in the arena. If that's the case, the array that Zheng Qingsong cultivated in, he had some knowledge of the Heaven's Net formation. It was a powerful type of devouring array, which was extremely secretive. But his 2 months of training had not been in vain. Suddenly, Zheng Qingsong suddenly shouted, I got it! Chapter 945, Death Place, Long Phase Arena. Chapter 945, Death Place, Long Phase Arena. Teacher Oya, Sister Qian, I need your help. Zheng Qingsong said quickly. Aoyu directly said, Quickly tell me. Zheng Qingsong said, The eye of the Heaven's Net formation is right around the arena. As long as we can find it and destroy it, the array formation on the arena will be broken. Song Qianqian immediately rushed towards the stage. Oya followed him out. Zheng Qingsong shouted loudly, Brother Fatty, hold on. Bam! Bang, bang, bang. As Chen Tianfei was ganged up on, The divine armor defense on his body also quickly shrank back. The stronger the force, the faster it retreated. Ha ha ha! Defense is king? Damn fat pig. Aren't you very arrogant? Now I feel great. Without this supportive strength, Chun Tianfei was just like a normal person. His strength couldn't be unleashed. The divine armor's power was suppressed. Chun Tianfei shouted, "Do you only have that much power? It's not even as strong as my scratching, ha." However, when he looked at Song Qianqian and the others, he felt that they were not far from the arena and immediately thought that they were looking for the Eye of Insight. Then he must hold them. They had to buy time for Man Tuo Yuo, Xiao Ying, and Han Xueji. As long as there were 3 of them, there would definitely be a chance for them to participate in this competition. Long Fei was not present. They couldn't afford to lose. If he wanted to follow the boss and go further, then he had to become more resistant. The fat men Chun roared. Green Dragon Troopers? I think it's the Blue Bug Battle Team. Come on, everyone come at me. All of you are coming for me alone. Ha! Fat Man Chin's fresh blood dripped down from the top of his head. His expression was sinister, like a war god. No fall, no retreat. Is this person stupid? It's already like this. Why aren't you admitting defeat? Brainless. Isn't this the fat pig from the general's estate? I never thought that you would be even more brainless and useless than before. Ha ha! The people of Green Dragon Troopers have won. They are going to be crowned. Discussion arose from the surroundings of the stands. No one sympathized with the fatty because no one sympathized with the weak, and they would only look down on the weak. Seeing how the people of the Green Dragon Troopers were constantly tormenting Chun Tianfei, the disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall cheered loudly. Kill him, arrogant? In front of our Green Dragon Troopers, what rights do you have to be arrogant? Ouyang Zhan also laughed coldly with pride. At this moment, the principal of the Array College of Martial Arts Training's face shook. Dean Ouyang, what are they looking for? Zheng Qingsong shouted excitedly. Found it! Under this floor tile. Zheng Qingsong's reaction toward formations was very strong. He lifted up the floor tile with one hand and saw that there was a huge crystal stone underneath. It was the Eye of the Heavens Net formation. It was also the source of power for formations. Break for me. Zheng Qingsong's palm struck down, his arm went numb, and his body exploded as he retreated. Ha ha ha! The head of the Array College of Martial Arts Training sneered. This is a Xian crystal stone. How can a mere array master like you break through a Xian crystal stone? Zheng Qingsong's power was the power of the formation and was unable to break the Xian crystal stone. However, Aoya's and Song Qianqian's strengths were different. The revenge blade in Aoya's hand moved, flying straight up. Insight into sword method. Shwa shwa. 3 swords struck out. The sword stabbed down towards the Xian crystal stone. The powerful breaking force stabbed onto the Xian crystal stone, immediately causing cracks to appear on the Xian crystal stone. The eyes of the sect master of the Array College of Martial Arts Training shook, and he said, Principal Ouyang, we can't let them break through the core of the array. If the array breaks, their power will recover in an instant. When that happens, I'm afraid. Ouyang Zhan's eyes turned sinister, and he shouted, Where are the Azure Dragon disciples? Huh. The large group of Green Dragon Matrial Hall disciples behind him stood up. Ouyang Zhan coldly stared at Song Qianqian and the others and said, Kill them. Yes, sir. Dozens of genius disciples from the Green Dragon Matrial Hall flew down from the spectator stands. It was also at this time. Sun Data roared out, Brothers, it's time to repay Young Master Long charge. Kill this group of Green Dragon Matrial Hall's geniuses. More than a dozen janitor disciples desperately tried to resist. Ling Long and the heavily injured Wang Qingshan also rushed forward. Song Qianqian's forehead turned sinister as he said to Aoya, Big Sister Aoya, break the formation. I will block it. As soon as Song Qianqian finished speaking, the blood vein S of the ninth heaven were released. Boom! The exquisite vein of ancient rosefinch was released, and a dozen or so people blocked the disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall. The long sword in Aoya's hand struck down once again. A few more cracks appeared on the Xian crystal stone, and the formation's power weakened. At the same time, the fatty and the others recovered their strength. Ah! Chun Tianfei roared loudly. Son of a bee asterisk to sich, is this all you have? Come on, come on. The situation was a bit chaotic. He was on the verge of losing control. In the stage, Fat Min Chun was about to go berserk as well. Xiao Ying, man to all you owe? Han Shuiji's heart was in pain. They could not make a move. If they did, they would definitely lose the competition. They were the last chance to make a comeback. Xiao Ying said with a sunken voice, "Hold on, it's going to be fine soon, it's going to be." He raised his arms and clenched his fists tightly. Aoya rose into the air once again. The long sword in her hand smashed down onto the Xian crystal stone heavily. Break for me. At this moment, Lu Changkong's eyes turned sinister as he moved through the air. With a step, he landed in front of Aoya, curled the corner of his lips, and said with a cold sneer, "You, get down." The aura on his body moved, and the pressure of the golden immortal rank pressed down. Boom! The difference in cultivation between Aoya and Lu Changkong was just too big. They were simply unable to endure the pressure of the golden immortal rank, and instantly smashed down from the sky. Bam! Oya spat out a mouthful of blood. Song Qianqian watched as Aoya was struck down, watched as Lu Changkong walked towards her. The ethereal image of the nine heavens enigmatic woman moved, directly rushing towards Lu Changkong. With great difficulty, Aoya climbed up from the ground. Ah! Once again, he soared into the sky. Holding the revenge blade in both hands, he stabbed it down heavily towards the Xian crystal stone. Lu Changkong's eyes darkened. His cultivation at the sixth stage of the golden immortal stage exploded out, like a ferocious beast that had collided with Aoya. Bam! Oya was knocked flying. Lu Changkong made a backhand gesture with his hand, forcing the phantom of the nine heavens profound woman to retreat. He let out a cold laugh. You want to break the formation? You're too far behind. A bunch of trash. It was extremely disdainful. The golden immortal rank was too strong, and he was the principal of the Rosefinch Martial Art College, so no one was his match. Even Song Qianqian was unable to contend against him. The service disciples could not resist it either. Oya was seriously injured. Song Qianqian and Ling Long were entangled. The formation could not be broken, so Chun Tianfei and the rest who were on the stage would definitely die. Dead. There was no other way. Everyone's heart was dead silent. At this time, a golden-haired figure descended from the sky. His two hands moved, and a huge golden palm came crashing down. Chapter 946, Instant Killer. Chapter 946, Instant Killer. If the array did not break, Chun Tianfei and the rest who were on the stage would die. When Lu Changkong took action, Aoya and the others fell into a deathly trap. Aoya was heavily injured, and the spell formation couldn't be broken. Song Qianqian was entangled and was unable to struggle free. She could only watch Lu Changkong walk towards Aoya step by step as everyone became anxious. Ouyang Zhan and the others, on the other hand, were incomparably pleased. At this time, they seemed to have forgotten Long Fei's existence. However, just as they were extremely excited, a figure descended from the sky. Moreover, this human figure was a little strange. His golden hair was soaring, and the aura on his body could be seen burning crazily, as if he was surrounded by a ball of energy. An enormous golden palm came crashing down. The sky darkened, as if it was about to split open. The strong power of the Holy Buddha descended layer after layer, locking onto Lu Changkong as he smashed downwards with his palm. Too fast. It was so fast that Lu Changkong had no time to react. Too fierce. It was a complete shock to everyone in the martial arts arena, as they had never expected that Long Fei would appear at this time, or that he would descend from the skies. Golden hair. Lu Changkong looked up into the sky and let out a terrified scream. Ah! A huge palm came slamming down on his head. Crack! Rumble! A gigantic Lord of Buddha handprint appeared on the ground. Lu Changkong's body was like a lump of meat paste in the center of his palm, without any signs of life. Instant kill. At this moment, the system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Lu Changkong for obtaining 80,900 experience, 8,000 power of celestial, and 10 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 3 immortal crystals. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sky Confusion Armor. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Divine Origin Sword. All of them had been devoured by the Yin Huang ancestor. Long Fei didn't care about it. He glanced at the arena, saw the same Aoya, Sun Dadu, and the others, and clenched his fists tightly. Whoever dares to provoke my brother die? Boom! His figure moved, and a golden light flashed. It floated in front of the disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall, as if it was as strong as rotten weeds. He used his full combat power. Bang! 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 Rumble! Bang! With a loud noise, the ground cracked, and dozens of disciples of Green Dragon Matrial Hall were sent flying. In that instant, the dragon salure in Long Fei's hands fell. Dragon Chop. 1,000 slashes. The dragon salure was arrogant, killing the disciples of these Green Dragon Matrial Hall S under the Super Science mode was simply a violent strike, harvesting them crazily. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk fresh blood rained down like rain, causing everyone to be in shock as they stared at Long Fei. Die! More than a dozen Green Dragon Matrial Hall disciples were instantly killed. Long Fei did not hear it, and his body sank as he looked at the other wave of Green Dragon Matrial Hall disciples. Boom! Yet another collision, sending all of them flying into the air. Super Science, Long Fei's fists shot out like cannons. All of you die. One by one, they attacked. Fist to flesh, fist ahead. The originally ferocious Green Dragon Matrial Hall, the principal of the 18 Matrial Halls, who was originally incomparably pleased with himself, and those people who were originally watching with glee were now violently crushed by Long Fei's appearance. It was as if he had stepped on their heads and slapped them in the face. Lu Changkong was instantly killed. 20-odd Green Dragon Matrial Hall disciples were instantly killed. Long Fei's body floated in mid-air as he roared out, "Mother asterisk her! Who else is there?" The entire audience went silent. He could not make any sound. Long Fei's hair became golden. The power in his body was a type of powerful bloodline energy. They were completely unfamiliar with this power. What exactly was this? He could not understand it at all, because the Buddha Palm technique was Long Fei's strongest power, but now, Long Fei burst with power stronger than the Buddha Palm technique. Furthermore, with the two of them combined, even Lu Changkong only needed a second. Although Long Fei had launched a sneak attack just like that, and he had arrived too quickly for Lu Changkong to defend himself, but he was still a level 6 golden immortal superpower house, and he was killed just like that? How strong were the combinations of the Super Scion and the Buddha Palm technique? He could not understand. Everyone in the entire martial arts arena could not understand. Long Fei had shocked them too much with his arrogant and overbearing aura. Suddenly, Long Fei roared again. This old man will just ask one more time. Who else? She stared at Ouyang Zhan with killing intent. At this time, Aoya strenuously walked forward, the revenge blade in her hand heavily stabbing into the formation's eye stone. Crack! The Xin crystal stone cracked, and the Tian Luo array formation disappeared. Mother asterisk her. It's my turn now. Chen Tianfei's neck shook, and his joints exploded out with a loud sound. A thick layer of defense formed a counterforce, standing in front of the 5 of them, and said with a sinister smile, "Damn it, I want to kill you all now." At the same time, the powers of Han Xueji, Man Tuo Yuo, and Shao Ying interweaved into a net, and the combined attack was released. Bang, bang, bang. Shao Ying's footsteps were like thunder as he charged forward quickly. The power of the brutal immortal root exploded outwards. One punch. The fist was like 100,000 tons of metal smashing down. The leader of Green Dragon Troopers was smashed to the ground. Chen Tianfei leaped up, and with a stomp, he rushed forward. I've said it before, if you don't kill me, I'll kill you. The defense on Chun Tianfei's body formed into an attack, so every one of the 5 of them had beaten him up. The moment he stopped the captain with his butt, Chun Tianfei shouted with an ice-cold expression between his brows, "All of you, get on the ground." Boom! Boom! The 5 of them suddenly had anaphasic force on them. The stronger they were just now, the stronger the anaphasic force they received was. The 5 of them simultaneously spat out blood. Their faces were pale. They didn't know how to defend against this sort of attack. His body sank. Xiao Ying unleashed his terrifying strength continuously, and every time he attacked, he used his full strength. In just a few seconds, Green Dragon troopers, they had been wiped out. The Fat Mention helped Dao Feng up, and the 5 of them stood in a row, imitating Long Fei's way of speech. They all shouted out at the same time, "Who else?" The entire audience was in an uproar. He was once again stunned by the 5 people from Arrogant Dragon Squad. Fight back with your life on the line. In that instant, the 5 people who were crushed to the point of no return killed all 5 people from Green Dragon troopers, resulting in the annihilation of their entire group. Moreover, the domineering aura emitted from their bodies was too ferocious. Unparalleled. At this time, a tiny voice sounded out. "Mad Dragon, Mad Dragon, Mad Dragon." Next, many people responded, "Kuang Long, Kuang Long, Kuang Long." It was boiling. Arrogant Dragon Squad started to boil for Long Fei. Ouyang Zhan's face turned green, his killing intent soaring to the skies. Chapter 9, 47 Start of War? Chapter 9, 47 Start of War? Team Ranking Tournament. Victory. Sees the first team. It was an indisputable victory, a victory that completely crushed the entire team. There was no room for debate at all. However, there was one person who was in a bad mood, Ouyang Zhan. The 5 people from Green Dragon Troopers were all his most prized disciples, and were the names of the disciples that he was most proud of. They were all in the arena. He couldn't hold back the rage in his heart for even a moment. With a burst of power, he roared loudly, "Long Fei." His voice was so loud that even the power of a golden immortal stage level 7 could crush the entire arena. The entire arena instantly quieted down. The Azure Dragon Courtyard is angry. Long Fei is going to suffer. He actually went against the 4 matrial halls in public and sneaked an attack on Lu Changkong as well, killing so many of their disciples. No matter how strong he is, he's just a virtual immortal stage. If it wasn't for Lu Changkong carelessly ignoring defense, how could Long Fei have killed the Vermilion Bird Principal? Young man, you are too arrogant and do not know how to restrain yourself. So what if you have won first place in the competition? No matter how strong you are, can you be stronger than the power of 18 matrial halls? This time, Ouyang Zhan is really angry. Many people began to discuss in whispers. No doubt about it. Long Fei had already caused Ouyang Zhan to go completely berserk. How could he not be angry after killing his son, and now that he had overturned his Green Dragon troopers and killed so many of his disciples? At this time, the time limit for the Super Saiyan mode was over on Long Fei, but he was not worried. The reason for releasing this Super Saiyan mode was very simple, because he had even more powerful techniques. The moves in the God Emperor Fairyland that used skill redemption point and system prizes. 2 sets of skills. Therefore, Long Fei was not worried about using the Super Saiyan's cooldown skill right now. Long Fei smiled and stared at Ouyang Zhan. "What is your father doing at home?" Cluck, cluck. Ouyang Zhan gritted his teeth as his eyes angrily glared at Long Fei, saying, "Killing the Vermilion Bird Principal and the disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall today." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei said fearlessly, "That's because they deserve to die. To touch my brothers and my women, that's what happens to them." "Ouyang Zhan, are you going to say something that I have to die today?" "Stop it. Just come down and mess with me." Long Fei's eyes were also staring furiously at Ouyang Zhan. He was extremely unhappy in his heart. If he had come here just for half a minute, then all of his people would probably die here, and the consequences would be extremely tragic. He would never forgive himself. When he thought about this, Long Fei's heart became even more furious. He pointed at Ouyang Zhan and said, "As the principal of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall, you lead the elders, disciples, and principal to attack us everywhere. But you actually set up the formation in advance. Don't you think that's shameful?" Every single match in the previous great competitions was held at different times, and the team competition and alchemy competitions were held at the same time. Don't you feel ashamed that you are going against me? Joint referee, colluding with the Pan family to bribe her and make her pay. Don't you think that's shameful? Of course, Long Fei sneered. For a person like you who has skin thicker than the walls of God Emperor's city, shame is nothing. But Long Fei's eyes shook and said, "So what? Who can stop my footsteps? Who can stop my arrogant dragon squad's footsteps? I'll grind." "Who do you think you, Ouyang Zhan, are?" He was furious and tried his best to vent his anger. Long Fei was truly unhappy in his heart. Ouyang Zhan was even more unhappy. The people around the grandstands were all discussing. Long Fei seems to be right. In this year's academy competition, he did not seem to be facing the entire team, but the entire God Emperor Academy instead. Is it really that good to target them like this? It's too unfair. None of the team competitions Long Fei have the means to enter the arena to compete, so that's how it is. Damn, this is so F***king shameless. As Ouyang Zhan listened to the discussions around him, his eyes were completely bloodshot. The aura on his body heavily exploded outwards, and his entire person entered a berserk state. Long Fei squinted and said coldly, "Come if you dare." The mission of the 18 Arhats had already beheaded the second one, even though there was no golden exclamation mark floating above Ouyang Zhan's head. But if he dared to come down, Long Fei would dare kill him. 7th level of the Golden Immortal Realm. It was really very strong. Long Fei believed that he would definitely be able to learn the 2 new sets of techniques. Even if they couldn't kill him, they could at least cripple him. However, what Long Fei was most worried about right now was if he could get his hands on a level 5 immortal root, then the 3 billion experience would not be a waste. He had to think of a way to raise his level increase. As long as his level increased, Long Fei was more confident. Ouyang Zhan roared in fury, causing all the disciples of Green Dragon Matrial Hall to stand up. All eyes were fixed on Long Fei. It was also at this time Song Qianqian walked over to Long Fei's side. Chun Tianfei jumped down from the stage and stood beside Long Fei. Next, Dao Feng, Man Taoyuo, Han Xueji, Xiao Ying, Aoya, and the logistics department brothers all stood beside Long Fei, and almost at the same time, they swallowed another destiny changer, followed by another. The aura of their power suddenly changed. Long Fei laughed excitedly. He stared at Ouyang Zhan and said, "You want to start a war with your father? Come on. Do I have to be afraid of you? Too arrogant." Green Dragon Matrial Hall, the #1 college of martial arts training, the strongest among them. Yet now, he was actually looked down upon by a disciple of the virtual immortal stage. Xiao Tianwu coldly snorted, "Long Fei, you are too arrogant. You want to start a war? My Black Tortoise College of Martial Arts Training will fight you. White Tiger Kung Fu Tribe, College of Martial Arts Training Spirit Poison. Formation College of Martial Arts Training." Immediately after, all the elders of the 18 Matrial Hall stood up, and all the elite disciples behind them stood up as well, and shouted loudly, "Let's begin." They were the most elite powerhouses. It could be said, then they could replace the entire God Emperor Academy. He offended the masses? Ouyang Zhan laughed coldly. "If you want to start a war with our 18 Matrial Halls, then let's see just how many lives you have left today." Boom! The moment he said that, Ouyang Zhan's gaze darkened, and he stepped forward. Long Fei's brows tightened and said in a low voice, "Once a fight breaks out, all of you should think of a way to escape." Chun Tianfei said, "Boss, my fat man Chun will not run." Dao Feng said, "Young Master Long, if you want to live together, you must die. We have to die together." Zhang Qing Song said excitedly, "Brother, we'll do it this way, we'll wipe them out. Song Qianqian, Aoya, Man Taoyuo, and the others were also looking at Long Fei. No one wanted to leave, and it was the same for the disciples of the logistics department. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. We shall live and die together. We shall live and die together. Everyone shouted at the same time. The dragon sallier was on their shoulders, staring at Ouyang Zhan. They shouted out, "Kill!" Chapter 948. The Boss Took the Bait. Chapter 948. The boss took the bait. The war was about to begin. No one backed down. Even in the face of the entire God Emperor Academy, no one took a step back. Life has to be wonderful. This was what Long Fei was doing. He actually reached this step. Then he would continue to be arrogant and not submit at all. Ouyang Zhan stared at Long Fei with anger in his eyes and said, "Kill." The president of the 18 matrial halls, the elders, and the disciples all stepped forward, and their voices shook the sky. "Kill." The situation was about to get out of control. Pan Zhan frowned. What is Ouyang Zhan up to? This was not his plan. He was completely at odds with his Pan family's plan. He looked at Pan Sheng beside him and asked, "Young master, what should we do?" Pan Sheng smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry, we won't be able to fight." Huh. Pan Zhan trembled slightly. He was about to attack, but he still couldn't. He looked at Pan Sheng's confident smile and said, "Young master, can it be that Supreme God is going to intervene?" Pan Sheng's eyes slightly rose and said, "He has always been interfering with the God Emperor Academy. Aside from cultivating for the past half a year, he also kept an eye on the movements of the Supreme God and the reason why he tolerated Long Fei. This time, he was very clear in his heart that the Supreme God wanted to teach Long Fei a lesson. Since that was the case, then Long Fei must never be able to stand up and must never have the qualification to enter the Supreme God's Dharma eyes." Pan Zhan was secretly shocked. After hesitating for a few seconds, he asked, "Young master, your and Long Fei's strength." "Destroy him." Pan Sheng laughed coldly, completely not putting Long Fei in his eyes, and said, "I can point him the Thunder Mountains in one move, but I can still do it now." Pan Zhan was overjoyed and said excitedly, "In today's battle, Pan family is destined to shake the entire God's martial continent, and the reputation of the #1 family." Pan Sheng looked at Long Fei and let out a mocking sneer. "Long Fei, you are only my stepping stone. Ha ha." At the moment when the war was about to begin, a figure descended from the sky. Buzz! The power of the explosion was so strong that it directly blocked off Ouyang Zhan and Long Fei. This was the power of the Supreme God. The figure was the 19th on the law enforcement agency. 19 figures sunk and shouted, "God Emperor Academy is the #1 academy in immortal domain. Do you want to destroy him?" This was not the outcome Palace question of God wanted to see. The power of Western Devil Lord grew stronger every day. God Emperor Academy could not cross over. Otherwise, immortal domain would quickly collapse. This was not what Supreme God wanted to see. It was also at this time. The 8 Fairy Hall Elders also moved, landing in the middle of them and shouted, "Long Fei, calm down a little. Don't you think it's messy enough?" Long Fei said, "You have to tell Ouyang Zhan to calm down first. As the head of the Azure Dragon Institute, he actually despicably and shamelessly went against us. What is he trying to do? If you're afraid, then tell me. I will make them lose in a more respectable way." In this situation, Long Fei knew he couldn't fight. However, to Long Fei, this was actually a little better. He could also slowly complete his mission of the 18 arhats. There was no need to be too anxious. Therefore, Long Fei was unbridled. Ouyang Zhan's eyes became angry, and he shouted, "Long Fei, I'm afraid of you?" Long Fei laughed. "If you're not afraid of me, then what are you doing with so many schemes and tricks? Wasn't this because he was afraid of me? Ouyang Zhan, you have the nerve to be the principal of Green Dragon Matrial Hall? If I were you, I would just find a piece of tofu and smash myself to death." "You." Ouyang Zhan was enraged to the point that he almost vomited blood. He was truly unhappy, but he could not find any words to refute. Indeed, he had always been plotting against Long Fei, had always been plotting against him. But Pan family had asked him to do all of these. Enough, 19 shouted out loud, looked at Long Fei and said, Long Fei, if you continue to pester me, your alchemy qualification will be cancelled, and your personal qualifying fight S will be cancelled. Long Fei slightly laughed. Ha. But if Ouyang Zhan dares to go against this daddy will beat him up no matter what price I have to pay. 19, without waiting for Ouyang Zhan to get angry, he shouted loudly, Dean Ouyang, I hope that you can treat the following matches fairly. This matter shall be concluded. We shall now proceed to the array formation finals. Can't fight. If they started fighting, the Supreme God's plan would collapse. If Long Fei lost, it would be detrimental to his search for the Dragon Domain. No matter who lost, it would not be beneficial for the Supreme God. Moreover, he only wanted to teach him a lesson and let him remember everything. He also wanted to remind him that if he wanted to become stronger, he would need to unravel the secrets of the Dragon Domain in order to be able to obtain even more power. It was also because of this that Pan Sheng left the Outer Space Palace. The Supreme God wanted Pan Sheng to teach Long Fei a lesson. Moreover, Supreme God believed in Pan Sheng's strength. It was more than enough to deal with Long Fei. Long Fei laughed coldly. Ouyang Zhan, you really want me to die, right? I will give you a chance today, just you wait. They wanted him dead. Long Fei also wanted to kill all 17 of the College of Martial Arts Training's principal. Each and every one of their names had turned blood red, the kind of boss that could attack him at any time. Long Fei also could not tolerate it. He was waiting to kill them all and complete the mission of the 18 arts. Finished. Long Fei turned and left. Ouyang Zhan's eyes turned sinister as he said coldly, Humph, brat, you will definitely not be able to survive today. The people of 18 matrial halls also sat down. Boss, where did you go last night? Chen Tianfei could not help but ask. Long Fei laughed. I went to a good place. As he was speaking, Long Fei's eyes were fixed on Pan Zhan, who was in the middle of the group. The Pangu axe is with Pan Zhan. If we can first blow it up. A greedy light flashed in Long Fei's eyes. The corners of his mouth hooked up as he said inwardly, Presbyter Chiu should be reaching God Emperor City soon, right? Presbyter Chiu, an elderly in green, went to God Emperor City. Other than protecting the Fengyuan business alliance, there was another matter. That was to get something done. Long Fei quietly waited. Song Qianqian said, Long Fei, what are you planning to do with personal qualifying fight? I think the people of 18 matrial halls will not let you off easily. Do you think that palace question of God is a bit too protective of you? I just don't think it's that simple. Long Fei laughed. Don't worry. Before entering the God Emperor Fairyland, Long Fei might have been a little afraid, but after leaving God Emperor Fairyland, he was no longer worried in his heart. This was because he had sufficient strength. In addition, he had 3 billion experience points. Half an hour later, a Pan family disciple had an anxious look on his face as he whispered something into Pan Zhan's ears. Pan Zhan suddenly stood up and stared straight at Long Fei. His eyes revealed killing intent, and after saying a few words to Pan Sheng, he left his seat. Long Fei smirked. The boss has taken the bait. Chapter 949. Explosion of Pangu Axe. Chapter 949. Explosion of Pangu Axe. Some moves require specific weapons. For example, sabersmanship. It needed to use the saber to display the strongest power of the saber technique. If he were to use the sword to replace it, it would be impossible for him to use the overbearing strength of the saber technique. The same was true for swordplay. The first time Long Fei saw the heaven-splitting axe, he told himself that the Pangu axe was his. And now, Long Fei really needed this divine axe. After Pan Zhan quietly left, Long Fei moved multiple shadows. Long Fei released a fake body, his real body also quietly standing in the middle of the encirclement of Fat Man Shun and the others. On the road to God Emperor City. You dog, you actually dared to attack my Pan family first. I think you're tired of living. Pan Zhan's killing intent surged, the anger in his heart surging. He never thought that Long Fei would actually send people to attack his Pan family first. And it was during the Academy's finals. Was not afraid, but he was the great clan elder and had to rush back to take charge of the situation. Therefore, he quickly left the venue. Beneath the shade of the forest, a man had his back against a large tree. Watching Pan Zhan charge forward with quick steps, he laughed coldly and said, "Great Elder Pan, where are you going?" "Long Fei." Pan Zhan's face was shocked, but it was not because of fear. He said, "Weren't you competing in the martial arts arena?" When he left, he had clearly seen Long Fei standing there. How did he arrive here in the blink of an eye? Or was he waiting for him here? Pan Zhan's brows sank, and he realized that Long Fei's goal wasn't anyone else but him. Narrowing his eyes, he smiled sinisterly and said, "Brat, you've been waiting for me here, right?" Long Fei said, "I'm not stupid." Pan Zhan laughed coldly and said, "Since you're here to send yourself to your death, then I can only grant your wish." As soon as he finished, Pan Zhan's figure disappeared and a powerful force burst out. In an instant, he had appeared in front of Long Fei. It was too fast. Pan Zhan's cultivation level was not lower than any college of martial arts training principal, and also, he was still holding onto the Holy Artifact's battle axe as he slashed it towards Long Fei. Dying, Long Fei blocked him. In his heart, he believed that they were not killing him, but delaying him from returning to the God Emperor's city. He was not Su Tianhe, and if he was not Lu Changkong, he would not have been killed by Long Fei's sneak attack. The axe chopped down with extreme ferocity. A red-name boss is a red-name boss. As expected, it would attack as soon as it saw you. Long Fei slightly smiled. He did not dodge. He did not even move. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up, and he said to Pan Zhan, who was being cleaved down by the godly axe in midair, "I don't have much time today, otherwise I would have used my own strength to properly play with you." So, Long Fei laughed. "Giant demon, do it." He did not want to waste time on Pan Zhan. His goal was simple: explode. Moreover, Long Fei could not leave the training grounds for too long. He was worried that Ouyang Zhan would attack his brother again. Thus, he decided to end the battle quickly. "Understood, Master." The giant demon's incomparably strong gravity flame burst out. The moment Pan Zhan's axe hacked down, the chain on his arm was blocked, and the chain on his right hand turned into a huge hammer that smashed down towards Pan Zhan's head. Bam! The amount of HP left on top of Pan Zhan's head fell immediately. The tens of millions of critical damage dealt was a complete mess. A stick was thrown down. Pan Zhan was instantly crippled. Blood spurted from his head, and his body fell from the sky, forming a deep crater on the ground. It was also at this time Long Fei moved his idea and instantly recalled the giant demon back into the 18 levels of hell. This was the God Emperor Academy, right under their noses. If someone found out, it would be troublesome. The giant demon disappeared. Long Fei slowly walked forward, looked at Pan Zhan in the deep pit, and coldly laughed. "Great Elder Pan, what are you feeling good about this? I told you before that if Long family could step on you once, he could step on you twice. Do you not believe that you still want to oppose your father? I am not Long Wushan's ancestor. I will not give your Pan family the chance to rise again." Long Fei smirked. His right hand moved, and the dragon salyer on his shoulder fell, slashing fiercely. Cutting the grass does not remove the roots. Spring winds rise again. Back then, Long family was a force that crushed Pan family and did not kill many people from Pan family. Long Fei's personality was different. Since he was sure that it was an enemy, then he wouldn't have the slightest bit of mercy. He didn't want to see the Pan family rise to power again several thousand years later, and once again, want to crush Long family. To cut the grass, he had to get rid of the roots. Pan Zhan's face turned pale. He stared at Long Fei and roared, "Long Fei, you dog, don't be arrogant. Today you have to die too." Crack! A blade fell. Pan Zhan's head was chopped off. The system beep sounded out, causing Long Fei's mind to tighten. He could not wait and shouted, "Release your striking attribute." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Pan Zhan for obtaining 98,000 experience, 9,000 power of celestial, and 10 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining pure Pan Gu bloodline. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Pan Gu axe. Congratulations to player Long Fei. The system beep continuously sounded, and when Long Fei heard Pan Gu axe, his heart immediately blossomed with laughter, becoming incomparably excited. Ha ha! It dropped. The Pan Gu axe dropped. It's so good. Seeing the gigantic axe in the space ring filled with a domineering aura, the savage energy continued to emanate from it, and his blood began to boil. If the Pan Gu axe matches up to that move, ha ha! Your father will definitely ascend to the heavens today. Long Fei thought about the scene of how the skill redemption point was paired with the Pan Gu axe, and was simply so excited that it reached its climax. You want me to die today? All the people that said that to lousy are dead. Long Fei laughed in disdain and quickly rushed to the training grounds. Martial arts arena. When Pan Zhan was using the Pan Gu axe, the space between Pan Sheng's eyebrows suddenly tightened. There were still not 10 minutes before Pan Zhan left, and he couldn't possibly have already returned to the God Emperor City's headquarters. Just when he was shocked, the Pan Gu axe's aura once again disappeared in an instant. Pan Sheng heaved a sigh of relief. Pan Zhan definitely killed his opponent and kept the Pan Gu axe. Palace question of God. In that instant, the demonic energy of the God Emperor Academy soared to the sky with incomparable density and density. Supreme God did not notice, but there was a person who noticed it, Gu Tongtian. His brows tightened. Magic Tribe has already invaded God Emperor Academy. Seems like Western Devil Lord can no longer hold himself back. Gu Tongtian squinted his eyes and muttered to himself, the secret realm of Dragon Domain must be opened as soon as possible. Chapter 950. Witness the Miracle. Chapter 950. Witness the Miracle. It was a long time ago. The longer it dragged on, the more disadvantageous it was for Gu Tongtian, because life force limit. He only had a few more years left, and it wouldn't take up much time to reach Western Devil Lord. And then, Gu Tongtian's figure moved and landed in the Supreme God's secret room. Supreme God shivered and immediately bowed respectfully. Master, Gu Tongtian slightly said. What's the matter going? Supreme God said. Reporting to Master, all the disciples have been properly arranged. Long Fei will definitely receive a lesson during today's academy competition and receive heavy injuries. At that time, I will guide him to the Dragon Tail Tomb. He will definitely go there. And once the Dragon Tail Tomb is unraveled, the only thing left behind is the Dragon Claw Tomb in Dragon Domain. Once the tomb with the dragon's tail is opened, the Dragon Domain will open very soon. Gu Tongtian said, very good. However, you must remember, you must control them. The people of Long family are hard to control, and as long as they have the slightest chance of success, they will definitely rise up. I do not wish for the incident with Long Zhanting to occur again. Gu Tongtian's voice was filled with dignity. Long Fei was his last hope. Supreme God immediately said, this disciple will definitely be able to control it. Martial arts practice field. Long Fei returned to the training grounds. Seeing the excitement on Long Fei's face, Song Qianqian couldn't help but ask, where did you go just now? Long Fei laughed and said, let's go and fight a boss. Song Qianqian did not understand what boss was and revealed a puzzled expression. Long Fei also did not explain, saying, you'll know in a while. Next, alchemy competition. Disciples, prepare yourself. The finals will begin in 3 minutes. Chun Tianfei immediately became excited. Boss, it's your turn. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, it's my time now. Long Fei was not prepared at all. He not only wanted to win against his opponent, he also wanted to win against all of the warriors in the God Emperor Academy, or even all of the warriors in the God's Martial Continent. He first stepped onto the stage of powder-making competition, lowered his voice, and said loudly, yesterday, I told you that I wanted to refine a medicinal pellet that could change the world. You will definitely laugh at me. How does a single pill change a world? Today, I will show you the power of medicinal pills and the power to change the world. As soon as Long Fei's voice fell, he said, I will refine 20 pills and give them to you for free. These 20 people, no matter who you are, the warriors of God Emperor Academy, the elders, the principal, the Fairy Hall elder, and the people from your observation consortium, all can come up. Changing time required strong proof. These 20 people were proof of this. Who's coming? Long Fei swept his gaze across the entire audience. As soon as he finished speaking, one of the College of Martial Arts training clan elder mocked. Brat, pills are only supplementary. It cannot change the world. The only thing that can change the world is power. You want to treat us like Shao Bai rats? A person like you is not worthy of becoming an alchemy master at all. Long Fei sneered and said, I'm very sorry. A person like you doesn't even have the qualifications to be a mouse like Shao Bai. Do you understand? If you have the guts, come down. If you want change, then come down. Those who are afraid, and those who like to mock others, scram to the side, because you do not have the qualifications to witness history. Destiny Changer could really change the world. The pubes had transformed. Through the transformation of his sea of consciousness, he could increase a person's cultivation talent. This was equivalent to raising the talent of the warriors in God's martial continent by a whole level. Long Fei wanted to change this world, wanted to let the position of the Fengyuan Business Alliance be unshakable. He also wanted countless fairy stones and immortal crystals. He wanted to make the Hell Core strong and lawless. I'll do it. One of the warriors from the observation team stood up and said, I'm a 9th grade madman with a rank 4 immortal foundation. However, I am unable to break through due to my natural talent. Let's see how powerful this pill that can change the world is. Count me in. I've taken countless kinds of pills, but they only solidify my foundation. I'll do it. Count me in. Me too. People continued to stand up and walk from the spectators area to the stage of powder-making competitions area. A Fairy Hall elder suddenly stood up and said, Since you say it's so magical, count me in. An elder from 18 matrial halls also walked down. Count me in. In this period of time, the people of the Arrogant Dragon Squad had always taken 2 things before fighting the battles. One was a medicinal pellet, the other was a variant crystal nucleu. At this moment, Ouyang Zhan stood up and said faintly, Long Fei, if any discomfort happens to them, you have to take full responsibility. Xiao Tianwu laughed coldly. Long Fei, look at how great you have made yourself out to be. Since you can change the world's medicine, why did you provide it to them for free? I think you have some ulterior motive. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, Do you two want to be slapped again? Ouyang Zhan, do you dare to gamble with your life? Long Fei could not stand Ouyang Zhan jumping around. If you don't want to bet your life, then don't be cocky here with me. Stay over there with those two. The anger in Ouyang Zhan's heart unceasingly accumulated. From the first day until now, Ouyang Zhan had to admit that he was very patient. If it was Long Fei, he would have exploded on the first day. Ouyang Zhan was so angry that he couldn't speak, and he didn't dare gamble on his alchemy. And then, one of the referees loudly announced, the alchemy competition will now begin. As soon as he finished, the green dragon medicine tripod floated above Long Fei's left hand, and Long Fei's technique was surprisingly quick in displaying the full potential of the reverse alchemy technique. After a month of hard work, he was finally able to understand the method of the God's General's Destiny Changer and reduce its failure rate to 0, which could be said to be a 100% success rate in refining Destiny Changer. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully refining it. A single pill was completed. It took less than 2 minutes. Long Fei did not stop and continued to refine. 1, 2, 3. In just 10 short minutes, he managed to refine 6 medicinal pellets. His opponent was a high-ranked alchemy master from Elixir Martial Arts branch, and upon seeing this situation, the pressure in his heart immediately caused him to collapse. I admit defeat. He had given up the match. However, Long Fei did not stop as he continued his crazed refining. Half an hour later, Long Fei smiled slightly and said, I have succeeded in refining 20 pills. This technique and this speed were simply heaven-defying. The entire martial arts arena was in a daze, looking at Long Fei, who was in the alchemy. How could this be called alchemy? That's like picking up beans. Isn't it too simple? Long Fei looked at the 20 people and said, "One each. After you take it, you'll know what pills that can change the world are." Who? Long Fei heaved a heavy sigh, raised his head, and looked towards the sky. It's time to witness the miracle. Chapter 951, Magic Power. Chapter 951, Magic Power. Many people were waiting for Long Fei to make a fool of himself. In the world of martial artists, there is only one thing that could change this world: power. Pills were only supplementary items. They absolutely could not change the world. Long Fei's words were very loud, so much so that many people ridiculed him for overestimating his own abilities, for being so arrogant and conceited. Pills to change the world? This was simply impossible. Long Fei did not care about the mocking laughter from the stands. He looked at the 20 people, including one of the Fairy Hall elder. The 20 of them stared at the pill in their hands, and many of them felt perplexed. A pill that took less than 2 minutes to refine did not emit any spirit fragrance at all. Was this really a pill that would not give him diarrhea after eating it? A wave of mocking laughter immediately rose from the stands. Be careful of the diarrhea. God Emperor Academy doesn't have that many latrines, huh? You all are really retarded. You all believe what others say? Do you really dare to believe a lie about a single pill being able to change the world? Maybe he'll become his slave after consuming the medicinal pills. Get ready for diarrhea. One voice after another rang out. Long Fei turned a deaf ear to them, looked at the 20 of them, and said, "You will all be proud of today's decision and will be the first to rise." Long Fei did not force them. At this time, the first middle-aged man who stood out, a 9th-stage berserk immortal cultivator, shouted, "I have consumed countless pills, but I am still unable to break through the virtual immortal stage. I do not believe in pills, but I do believe in you, Long Fei." With that, he raised his head and swallowed the pill. The moment the pill entered his mouth, it melted and a warm sensation seeped into his body. Next, as the effects of the pill spread, a loud sound reverberated inside the pubes. The man's eyes bulged, as if he was being attacked by some unbearably powerful attack. His aura suddenly burst forth. Did you see that? It's much more serious than we thought. I'm afraid he's going to die. Look at his painful expression. This is definitely not a stomachache. It's probably a life-threatening pill. Long Fei, you really don't care about life. The people of Nantian region are this kind of sinister people. There is nothing good in the Long family. The mocking laughter grew in volume. Long Fei still pretended not to hear anything and looked at the man seriously. He was extremely confident and was not afraid at all. "Just you wait. You'll all kneel down and beg me." Long Fei was not in a hurry. The other 19 people looked at each other and did not consume the pill. Instead, they looked at the man who was in pain. Many of them began to regret. Suddenly, the man sat cross-legged, releasing one chi after another from his body. After about half a minute, buzz! A rumbling sound could be heard from within his body as the aura on his body changed. He went from the original arrogant immortal state to the aura of the virtual immortal stage. He walked to Long Fei and kneeled down in front of him with a plop sound. He was so excited that he couldn't even speak. Thank you, thank you, thank you, I've broken through. The bottleneck that had troubled him for 5 years. He thought he would never be able to break through in this lifetime. Now, he had broken through. It was because of the pill Long Fei had given him just now. His voice was like an imperceptible slap, ruthlessly hitting the faces of those who had just mocked Long Fei. It was incomparably loud. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Congratulations." It was at this moment. The man sat down with his legs crossed and his forehead locked. What happened to him? It must be side effects, the side effects of forcefully breaking through to the next realm. Something definitely has to be wrong with the body. Kid, don't get cocky too early. You're right, The people from the Nantian region basically don't understand alchemy. The Nantian region from the wasteland are the weakest region in the gods' martial continent. Do you understand what alchemy are? The 19 people originally wanted to consume the pill, but when they saw that the man's brow was furrowed, their hearts trembled and they didn't continue. But right at this moment, buzz! A bright sound. Buzz! Another bright sound. Buzz! A third bright sound. Every martial artist was familiar with this sound. When one broke through to the next realm, their body would emit a buzzing sound, and their strength would change. 3 chimes represented 3 breakthroughs. The first time was 4 breakthroughs, continuously, for consecutive breakthroughs. In less than a minute, he had broken through to the 4th level. Terrifying. Kneeling in front of Long Fei again, he heavily kowtowed and said, "From today onwards, you are my master. You have given me a new life. Thank you." He did not know how to repay Long Fei. He was giving his life to Long Fei. Long Fei helped him up and said, "I am not your master. If you are willing, from today onwards, we are brothers." Boss! Without saying a word, the man was extremely excited. The entire stands instantly quietened down. Breaking through 4 times in a short moment, what kind of concept was that? Even the super geniuses of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall couldn't do it. Long Fei swept his gaze across them and laughed coldly. Laugh. Laugh again for this, Daddy. Don't you guys like to mock me? Keep laughing. Those people who were mocking me just now, I will remember them all. Anyone can buy a destiny changer. None of you can. A slap in the face. The commotion caused by the destiny changer was just too intense. Long Fei also never thought that there would be such a great stir, to the point of consecutively leveling up 4 levels. He never would have expected that. It was also at this time. The remaining 19 people quickly consumed their pills. Buzz! I've broken through. I've broken through. Buzz! I also broke through. I also broke through. Long Fei, you are my new parents. You gave me a new life. Ha ha. I broke through as well. In the next few minutes, more and more people broke through. 13 of the 20 had instantly broken through, and they were extremely terrifying existences. The entire audience was shocked. Was this drag? Impossible. Even if it were to drag things out, no one would be able to control the breakthrough. Breaking through to the next realm wasn't something that could be controlled by a human. It was definitely the effect of that pill. Long Fei looked at the Fairy Hall Elder and said, "Elder, it's your turn." These people were just breaking through. However, they did not know why they had broken through. What changes had happened to their bodies? Fairy Hall Elder put the pill into his mouth and closed his eyes. It was also at this time. Everyone looked at the Fairy Hall Elder, holding their breath. Everyone could be dragging it out, but it was impossible for the Fairy Hall Elder. 2 seconds later, Fairy Hall Elder was shocked. Chapter 9:52 The Throat of Controlling the World. Chapter 9:52 The throat of controlling the world. He could not calm down. In Palace Question of God, he was also an alchemy master. Other than the ancestral dragon pellet that Long Fei refined, he disdained all other pellets, including the 9-dragon pill that Su Tianhe refined, because he could concoct stronger pills. He only went up on stage to find out what was so special about the pellet Long Fei refined. There was no other reason. However, when he swallowed the pill, he felt as if he was electrocuted. Both of his eyes were opened wide in anger, and he instantly became excited, staring at Long Fei. "Your pill. Let's wait first." He broke through and sat cross-legged, his aura continuously condensing and bursting out, forming a powerful whirlpool of air. A few seconds later, boom! With a loud bang, a heavy sound of thunder came out from within his body. His entire person became incomparably excited as he suddenly stood up and rushed in front of Long Fei, his eyes filled with respect and worship, and asked, Why? Why did it have such a metamorphosis effect?" The Fairy Hall Elder had broken through. The Fairy Hall Elder had broken through. Ouyang Zhan's face was ashen. Xiao Tianwu's expression was ugly. The expressions of the elders and disciples of Elixir Martial Arts Branch were as though they had been slapped ruthlessly by a few hundred slippers, becoming extremely ugly. They had been laughing at him, but now, Fairy Hall Elder had already made a breakthrough and gave them a resounding slap across their faces. Longface said indifferently, "Because this is a medicinal pellet that can change the world." Changing the world? Fairy Hall Elder's heart violently shook as he muttered to himself. The pubes transformed, the sea of consciousness transformed, a person's talent transformed. This is indeed a pill that can change the world. It's really possible. Boy, pills can change the world. This is the dream of us alchemy masters. You really did it. Really, you really did it. As he spoke, the Fairy Hall Elder's eyes filled with tears. Alchemists were indeed worthy of respect. However, he was only an alchemist and was only able to refine a few medicinal pellets to assist his cultivation. He had to rely on himself, because every single alchemy master would want to refine a medicinal pellet that would change the time of the day. But that dream was too far away. Now, Long Fei did it. He was incomparably excited, and at the same time, the entire martial arts practice grounds began to boil with excitement. What kind of medicinal pill is it? Even the Fairy Hall Elder made a breakthrough in an instant. What kind of effects does this pill have? The disciples of the 18 matrial halls stood up. The remaining 7 Fairy Hall Elders also stood up at the same time. Their expressions were all incomparably shocked. Just when they were shocked, Long Fei smiled faintly, looked at the Fairy Hall Elder, and said, "Alchemy is my hobby. Amateur? Should he still let those alchemy masters live? It was simply too deadly. Long Fei, give up on the competition. I will bring you up to Palace Question of God, and you will become the #1 alchemy master in the entire continent. Any one of your pellets will be worth 10,000 gold." He knew what would happen next, but he couldn't care so much now. He couldn't allow a genius alchemy master to fall just like that. He could not let the pills that could change the world disappear just like that. Long Fei was slightly taken aback, then laughed. "Thank you for your good intentions. As I said before, alchemy is only a hobby to me, and my main job is still to become a martial artist." The space between Fairy Hall Elder's brows tightened, and said, "Long Fei, listen to me advise you to give up your personal qualifying fight. It will definitely benefit you." He had made it very clear. Personal qualifying fight was very dangerous, incomparably dangerous. Long Fei was not an idiot. He naturally stopped and said, "The dictionary of my Long family people do not have the word give up. Thank you, Elder, for your kind intentions. But no matter what kind of challenge you meet, I will always step on them." Why didn't you listen to him? "You will die from personal qualifying fight," the Fairy Hall Elder hurriedly said. He really didn't want to see that scene. And at the beginning, he didn't care much, but now that Long Fei had completed it, he didn't have any dreams that I hadn't completed. He didn't want to see Long Fei die. What kind of existence was Pan Sheng? First Devil Slayer. This was only secondary. The most important part was his cultivation realm and the body that he had comprehended. The most important part was the instructions from the Supreme God. Even if he could win everything, could Long Fei win against Pan Sheng? Even if he defeated Pan Sheng, would Long Fei be able to win against the Supreme God that was the ruler of the Hall of Immortals? Giving up is Long Fei's only choice. At this moment, the 3 Fairy Hall Elders descended and shouted, "Elderly, you speak too much." Without waiting for a response, the 2 clan elders dragged him out of the stage of powder-making competition. Another elder looked at Long Fei and said, "Personal qualifying fight, you must participate. If you dare not participate, everything that you have obtained today will be for naught. Moreover, those around you will all die. I hate people who threaten me the most." Long Fei sneered and said, "Don't worry, even if the sky falls, I will still participate in the personal qualifying fight today. No one will be able to stop my, Long Fei's, steps. No one. You can't either." The Fairy Hall Elder sneered and looked at Long Fei teasingly, his eyes saying, "You don't know the heights of heaven and earth. You'll know how high the heavens are and how thick the earth is later." Elderly still shouted loudly, "Long Fei, give up the competition and follow me to Hall of Immortals. Palace Question of God will make your pills worth 10,000 gold. Listen to my advice." Bam! One of them struck Elder Lee's abdomen with his palm, and the other shouted, "If you dare say even half a word more, I'll take your life." Long Fei looked into his eyes. His heart was also filled with suspicion. Exactly what kind of experts will appear in personal qualifying fight? Amongst the students of God Emperor Academy, none of them are my match. Could it be Hall of Immortals? Long Fei couldn't understand how any of the disciples in the God Emperor Academy could be his match. Huff! We'll deal with it when it's time. Long Fei made up his mind and said indifferently, "The medicinal pellets I refine do not need to be worth 10,000 gold." At the observation section, a consortium leader stood up and said, "Master Long Fei, what is the name of this pill and what is the price? If possible, I would like to buy it out of your exclusive right." Name your price. Once such a pill entered the market, it would sweep across the entire continent. Medicinal pills could change time, but acquiring the exclusive right was equivalent to controlling the throat of this world and the entire continent. Next, all of the consortium leaders of the consortium stood up and said, "Master Long Fei, the price is up to you. As long as you can open it, we will definitely think of a way." Controlling this pill was equivalent to gaining control of the world. Long Fei looked at them one by one. If the Destiny Changer were to fall into their hands, what would change would not be the world, but making them extremely rich. This was not Long Fei's goal. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "This medicinal pellet is called Nantian Elixir, the only selling point of God's Martial Continent, Feng Yuan Business Alliance. As for the selling price, 100 silver taels is enough." Chapter 953, The Beginning of the Personal Qualifying Fight. Chapter 953, The Beginning of the Personal Qualifying Fight, 100 silver taels. The entire arena instantly quieted down. All the spectators looked at Long Fei with their mouths agape. Not to mention 100 taels of silver. Even 100, 1,000, 10,000 fairy stones would all be sold out, yet Long Fei only sold them for 100 taels of silver? Was he retarded? Had he been bitten by a dog, kicked by a donkey, and caught in the door an hour later? Even a fool wouldn't sell it for 100 taels of silver. Am I hearing things? 100 silver? How much did he just say? 100 fairy stones, right? Am I the only one who heard wrong? The entire city was filled with doubts, thinking that they had misheard. How could such a pill only be sold for 100 taels of silver? Long Fei swept his gaze across the entire audience and said, "You did not hear wrongly. The price of the Nantian Elixir is 100 silver. Today is 100 silver. Tomorrow is 100 silver. So from now on, the price of this medicine will be 100 silver. I said before that I want to change this world, and I, Long Fei, want to make sure that every martial artist can afford it, and that they have the right to change their own destinies." As soon as he finished, the entire audience was stunned. Then, many people started to stand up, one by one. Even the elite disciples of 18 matrial halls could not help but stand up and clap their hands. The applause was deafening. At this moment, even those who had mocked Long Fei felt a sense of respect towards him. Who would do such a thing? The person who could have controlled the fate of the world had actually given up and allowed every fighter the right to change their fate. Who could do that? No one in the world could do this. Fighters are selfish. Be it the weak or the peak powerhouse, everyone was thinking about themselves. Who could be like Long Fei? Nantian region, Nantian Elixir. Change fate. Nantian region, Nantian region, Nantian region. At this moment, everyone was shouting the three words Nantian region. The Destiny Changer, changing her fate to Nantian Elixir, meant letting everyone know that the medicine that could change the fate of the world was a long family from the Nantian region. Boss is too handsome. He's so handsome that it's like trash falling from the sky. Zheng Qingsong's tears started to drip from her eyes as she said, "I'm really going to fall in love with him." At this moment, Song Chanqian, Mantal Yuo, Aoya, Han Shueji and the others all stared at him. All the hair on their bodies stood on end as they stared at him. They were all extremely excited. So handsome. The entire world was cheering for Long Fei. He was arrogant. He was arrogant. He was tyrannical, but he was also selfless. If someone was happy, then that person would naturally be unhappy. It was inevitable that Ouyang Zhan, Xiao Tianwu, and the principal of the 18 matrial halls would all be very angry. Long Fei's current position in the hearts of his students had already far surpassed theirs. If Long Fei did not die today, he would have replaced them. He might even become a dean. This was not what they wanted to see. Also, there was one other person who was extremely unhappy, Pan Sheng, who was in the group of Pan family. He was in a bad mood, extremely displeased. Pan Sheng stared at Long Fei with gloomy eyes and said coldly, "I would like to see how you're going to change this world if you don't have a life and become a ghost to change. I absolutely cannot allow this pill to enter the market. As long as Long Fei dies, all the Nantian elixir and all the pills that can change the world will go to hell." Pubes flowed into the market, causing the influence of the Fengyuan Business Alliance to increase instantly. He would directly crush the Pan family's merchant union. Moreover, there was no need to duplicate a pill worth 100 taels of silver. Long Fei, oh Long Fei, I really underestimated you in the past. I never thought that you would be so much stronger than what I imagined. The killing intent in Pan Sheng's heart grew stronger. After today, if Long Fei doesn't die, he will fly away. He could not let Long Fei fly. He could not let Long family crush him again. He absolutely could not. Palace question of God. In the main hall, Supreme God frowned slightly. His expression was calm, but in his heart, he was extremely unhappy, because he did not want Long Fei to rise again. After today, Nantian elixir flowed into the market. The entire God's martial continent would know the name Long Fei, and they would know of the Long family's Long family. This was something he did not want to see. Why is he only selling it for 100 silver? An elder asked in confusion. Only then would it cause a sensation and achieve the results he wants. I have to say, Long Fei really knows how to operate himself. That's just one thing. If it's 100 fairy stones, or even just one, how many of them can the warriors of God's martial continent take out? It's probably not even 1 in 100,000, right? Fairy stones were very precious things. Even the high-ranking nobles of the God Emperor city could not provide that much, let alone ordinary warriors. What he wants to earn is the money of the entire God's martial continent's warriors. This is his most knowledgeable place. A fairy hall elder said lightly. 100 taels of silver and 100 fairy stones were far too different. But what about the billions of basic warriors in the entire continent? What would the result be? The result was very simple. Long Fei wanted to make a huge profit. Of course, Long Fei was thinking the same thing. If he could earn money, gain fame, and increase the influence of the Nantian region, why not? He somewhat realized that he also had the potential to be an unscrupulous merchant. After a moment of commotion, next were the finals. Soon, the results came out. There were many people who were not interested in these finals. In their hearts, they were all thinking about the matter of purchasing the Nantian elixir, which was the main highlight of the competition, the personal qualifying fight. 2 hours later, the commotion caused by the Nantian elixir slowly calmed down. A referee walked up and said, "Next is the finale, personal qualifying fight. Who can reach the top? Who could become the #1 disciple of the God Emperor Academy? Let's wait and see." Personal qualifying fight, the competition with the heaviest value. It was more important than any contest. This was the world of martial artists, and strength was always the main theme. Moreover, as long as one was a student of the God Emperor Academy, they could participate in any personal qualifying fight challenge. Huff! Long Fei heaved a heavy sigh and said, "It has finally begun. What kind of powerhouse are they hiding?" Chen Tianfei walked up and asked, "Boss, do we participate?" Long Fei shook his head and said, "You do not need to. I want to defeat them one by one in this competition." He knew in his heart, personal qualifying fight was the beginning of danger. I am afraid God Emperor Academy still have some tricks up his sleeves. I cannot let my brothers be in danger anymore. Long Fei looked at Aoya and said, I will settle that elder for you as well. Oya was stunned. At this time, Long Fei walked out. Either not, or they could just turn him upside down. Thus, Long Fei took a step forward, his figure moved, his eyes stared straight at Ouyang Zhan, and said, Come, I will challenge your entire 18 matrial halls. Chapter 954, Killing Kill Explosion. Chapter 954, Killing Kill Explosion. 18 matrial halls, right? Powerful beyond compare, right? I'm going to destroy you. Long Fei stood on the stage with incomparable arrogance and said, All geniuses of 18 matrial halls come. I, Long Fei, will receive them all by myself. If you want to be arrogant, then be arrogant to the death. If they wanted a challenge, they had to challenge the 18 matrial halls together. God fending against gods, Buddha's defense against Buddhas, slaughter of Buddhas. Long Fei was just that arrogant. Too arrogant. A senior disciple of the Green Dragon matrial hall flew down. The sword in his hand formed an illusion, and the powerful sword technique crushed the heavens, releasing a pressure of the 8th stage of the Blood Immortal stage. Brat Dai, 8th level Blood Immortal. His cultivation was 9 realms higher than Long Fei, an existence that was difficult to surpass. The sword techniques they trained and were also extremely powerful. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as his lips curled up slightly. He laughed coldly and said, You're the genius of Green Dragon matrial hall, right? The moment the dragon's salure fell, without waiting for that disciple to fall, the aura on Long Fei's body exploded. Level 7 Peerless, open. Boom! The energy in Long Fei's body suddenly exploded, and the dragon's salure in his hand slashed down without hesitation. Roar! The black dragon roared. A black dragon-shaped saber energy came crushing down. Crack! The sword broke, and before he could even land on the stage, he was killed instantly by Long Fei's blade. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing senior disciple of Green Dragon matrial hall for obtaining 3,900 experience, 200 power of celestial points, and 10 energy values points. Congratulations, player. Long Fei took a look at the items that dropped and sighed in his heart. I did not manage to obtain a tier 5 immortal root. Failure. He needed grade 5 immortal roots. He really needed it. He couldn't release 3 billion experience. The dragon salure moved and carried the sword on its shoulder. Long Fei smirked and stared at Ouyang Zhan. Continue. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 geniuses from the Green Dragon matrial hall rushed down. This time, their sword techniques were even more powerful, one in front and one behind, sealing Long Fei. There's no retreat. It was completely sealed off by the sword moves. I'm afraid Long Fei will be injured this time. Sigh. Why be so arrogant? Isn't it better to be a bit more restrained? Green Dragon matrial hall. The strongest existence in the God Emperor Academy. Every single disciple of the Green Dragon matrial hall are all super geniuses. They are all too strong. Just when everyone thought that Long Fei would be injured, Long Fei suddenly jumped. Humph! You'll die even if you jump into the air. A disciple's 10,000 sword shadows came crashing down. In this instant, Sky Tyrant Strike. Boom! It directly knocked over a disciple. And it was also at this moment that Long Fei's body moved once again. Sky Tyrant Strike. Boom! This set of skills had no cooldown. To be able to attack endlessly, what did 2 disciples of the Green Dragon matrial hall count as? He raised his blade and slashed down twice more. Ding! Ding! The system sounded out again, but still did not release a 5th stage Blood Immortal Foundation. Long Fei was a little agitated. He roared angrily and said, Is there only this many people in your Green Dragon matrial hall? Damn it! All of you who want to kill me, come down right now. Disciples of the 18 matrial halls, come down if you don't agree with me. I will deal with you all together. Annoyed, very irritable, looking at the more than 3 billion experience piled up there, He felt extremely frustrated. Who the hell thought of this? To actually set this kind of threshold for leveling up, CKU, if I didn't get my 5th grade immortal root, what would I do? Will it forever remain in the virtual immortals stage? Level was very important. Today was a particularly important day. Was Long Fei still only at the 9th stage of the virtual immortals? He wouldn't be able to obtain the power of the blood immortal stage if he didn't level up. But once it was a powerhouse of the golden immortal rank, Long Fei would find it very difficult to resist, and even difficult to resist. I have to level up. I have to reveal my grade 5 immortal foundation. Long Fei was secretly anxious in his heart. He had already realized that a mysterious powerhouse must have appeared. He had to be prepared. Come on, Ouyang Zhan, aren't you very arrogant? Didn't you always want to kill me? Send out all of your 18 matrial halls as disciples. If anyone disagrees today, I will beat them until they submit. Long Fei was extremely arrogant. There was only one way to obtain a Tier 5 Immortal Foundation. Explode. There were still 16 bosses left in 18 matrial halls, and they were still not able to challenge them yet. They had to win all the matches in order to be qualified to challenge anyone other than the disciples. Ouyang Zhan stared at Long Fei, his eyes blazing with fire. He roared, "Attack!" As soon as he finished, one by one, the senior disciples of the 18 matrial halls flew down. In just a few seconds, the stage was filled with people. All of them were the elite disciples of 18 matrial halls. Every single one of them was an absolute genius. He challenged so many of them all at once. Is he crazy? No matter how strong Long Fei is, he can't possibly be a match for these 100 over-genius warriors, right? Damn, isn't this too crazy? The comments from all around the stands rang out. The eyes of the 8 Fairy Hall Elders narrowed. They looked coldly at Long Fei, who was in the stage, and had no intention of interfering. Pan Sheng was the same. He said with a cold smile, "Fighting against 18 matrial halls is equivalent to becoming enemies with the entire God Emperor Academy. I want to see how long you can hold out for." Song Qian and the others could not help but worry. There were really too many people in the arena. Moreover, their cultivation were all above Long Fei. How could they be his match? Fat Min Shin walked a few steps forward. He wanted to ensure Long Fei's safety. No matter what happened, he had to ensure Long Fei's safety. This was his promise to Qiu Wandao. This was also something that he had to do. This was a challenge that was impossible to win. The 18 matrial halls is so high and mighty. All of you rejected me back then. At that time, I swear that I, Long Fei, will definitely destroy your 18 matrial halls one by one. Long Fei laughed sinisterly, like a madman. Today, this oath shall be fulfilled. The more people he had, the more powerful he liked, because only this way would the drop rate be increased. Kid, today is the day you die. Let's see how long you can continue being so arrogant. Just wait to go to hell. Don't talk nonsense with him, kill him. The Revelation Sword. More than 100 genius disciples stirred, all of them rushing towards Xiang Long Fei. Long Fei was not afraid. His aura suddenly exploded, his right hand tightly holding onto the dragon salure. His body moved, and with a strong force, he suddenly struck out, Sky Tyrant Strike. Boom! A large part of the disciples were knocked into the air. Long Fei's body did not stop at all. Dragon Chop. The dragon salure began dancing in midair. At the same time, the other genius disciples did not stay where they were and did not do anything. They were also crazily attacking Long Fei, who was in midair. Explode, explode, explode. Explode for me. Chapter 955, Challenge 16 Bosses. Chapter 955, Challenge 16 Bosses. The slaughter continued. No defense. When Long Fei unleashed his dragon chop, he did not defend and continued to kill crazily. Ding, 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 ding. The system beep continued to ring. However, he still did not reveal his Tier 5 Immortal Foundation. He was still at the 9th stage of the virtual immortals, but he just could not break through. Damn, I don't believe it. Long Fei heavily leaped, Sky Tyrant strike. Violent mountain hit fist. After sending a large group of people flying, Long Fei's fists exploded, smashing onto the genius disciples in the air randomly. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, they were blasted off the stage. It was also at this time. Long Fei's body was covered with wounds, and blood gushed out like a spring. He did not stop. Ouyang Zhan did not stop either, and continued to shout. He's almost at his limit. He's almost at his limit. Go kill him. Long Fei was strong. His attacks were sharp and powerful. However, no matter how much stronger he was only a single person. He was unable to fight against the hundreds of senior disciples that came before him. As long as the Sea of Humans battle continued, Long Fei would definitely lose. The number of people who fell on the stage continued to increase, and Long Fei continued to kill even more crazily. His eyes were filled with blood. The moment his striking energy value reached 100 points, he would immediately release it. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Senior Disciple of God Emperor Academy, for obtaining 4,000 experience, 230 power of celestial points, and 10 energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Holy Artifact Rotten Wood God Sword. Fuck, I don't want the Holy Artifact. I want the Tier 5 Immortal Foundation. Long Fei cursed angrily. He was really going to level up now. If he did not level up soon, he would not be able to hold on, because he had exhausted more than half of his health point. It seemed like his strength had not decreased at all, and instead, his killing intent had become fiercer and fiercer. However, the matter of him being injured was not fake, and his health point was also quickly decreasing. He had to level up. Only by upgrading his health point would he be able to recover instantly. Thus, he needed a Tier 5 Immortal Foundation. However, after killing dozens of blood immortal geniuses, all of them had absorbed a Grade 5 immortal root, but were still unable to do anything about it. It didn't matter if it was for the ordinary rate of explosion or the release of the striking energy values attributes. The only thing was that no 5th grade immortal roots had been obtained. Long Fei muttered, "System, damn you. Are you trying to play me to death? Isn't the rate of dropping Immortal Foundation too low?" Long Fei worked hard, but there was one person who was abnormally excited, Yanhuang Ancestor. His mouth was filled with pieces of holy artifact. He was grinning from ear to ear, as though he was celebrating the new year. Brat, continue, keep going. Ha ha, it's really great. Yanhuang Ancestor was very happy. The holy artifact power was constantly being absorbed, and his power was also continuously getting stronger. Long Fei continued to crazily kill. The elites of the 18 matrial halls continued to rush down. Half an hour later, corpses were everywhere on the stage, and Long Fei was still as fierce as before. However, he was still Virtual Immortals level 9 and had not revealed his level 5 immortal root. I see it. If they want to reveal their Grade 5 Immortal Foundation, then these advanced disciples are out of the question. Long Fei's heart quivered. After entering the immortal domain, people rarely expose their immortal roots. Even after killing hundreds of advanced disciples, he still did not manage to get even one immortal foundation. And then, Long Fei's eyes darkened. He stared at the few disciples remaining on stage, and suddenly moved, killing God Chop. The dragon's salure slashed down. Boom! Half of the arena had been destroyed, and those disciples had also been killed instantly. Long Fei raised his eyes. His voice suddenly roared out and stared at Ouyang Zhan. Who else? I'm just asking. Who the hell isn't convinced? His voice intimidated the entire audience. None of the 18 matrial halls' disciples dared to rush in again. Long Fei was simply a meat grinder, and if he went down, they would die. They were not his match, and were not on the same level at all. Moreover, they were also crushed by Long Fei's valiant killing intent. Who else? Long Fei continued to roar. No one else. Then I should be the king of personal qualifying fight, right? Now, it's my turn to exercise the authority of a king, right? He couldn't wait. He was annoyed by the 3 billion experience. It was obvious that he could level up, but he just couldn't. What was this? As Long Fei spoke, he slowly got up. But when he heard Long Fei say he would exercise his authority, he sat back down. He wanted to see what Long Fei wanted to do. As long as Long Fei was on stage, he was not worried that Long Fei would run away. Moreover, the current Long Fei only had half a life left. He could no longer escape. With just a mere virtual immortal stage, Pan Sheng was 100% sure that he could defeat Long Fei in 10 moves and kill Long Fei in 20 moves. Because his cultivation could completely suppress Long Fei. No matter how strong the moves were and how much more powerful the attacks were, they were all limited by their levels. Without a level, they were nothing. Pan Sheng stared at Long Fei and laughed coldly. The higher you stand, the stronger I will be able to show you the moment I step on you. Long Fei, your life is mine. Long Fei kept the dragon's salure. At this moment, he did not think too much and did not think about any schemes that personal qualifying fight had up his sleeves. He had revealed a Tier 5 Immortal Foundation because he really wanted to level up. Long Fei stared at Ouyang Zhan and laughed. No one is my match. Now it's my challenge, right? Ouyang Zhan shouted coldly. Who do you want to challenge? Long Fei revealed a sinister smile and said, I want to challenge you. His finger continuously pointed at the 16 Principal College of Martial Arts Training and finally pointed at Ouyang Zhan, saying, and you. There were a total of 16 Principal of College of Martial Arts Training. To Long Fei, there were 16 bosses. It was even the boss that had completed the 18 Arhut missions. The entire training field suddenly became silent. Even the 8 Fairy Hall Elder-S were stunned by Long Fei's actions. After challenging the disciples of the 18 Matrial Halls, he was going to challenge the principal of the 18 Matrial Halls? Is he crazy? Chun Tianfei laughed excitedly and said, Boss is indeed fierce. Challenging 16 College of Martial Arts Training S in one go. He's too arrogant. Song Qianqian frowned as he shouted loudly, Long Fei, don't be rash. Just when everyone was in shock, Ouyang Zhan laughed loudly, haha. Long Fei, you asked for this yourself. And then, Ouyang Zhan looked at the 15 chairman and laughed. Headmasters, this dog thing is about to ride on our heads and shit. Can you bear it? Since he wants to challenge all of us deans, let him know what is called the gap between us. The 15 chairmen were all infuriated. Long Fei was so arrogant that there was no end to it. Boom. The principal of the Formation College of Martial Arts Training descended. Boom, 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 boom. One dean after another fell heavily from the stands, their gazes tightly locked onto Long Fei. Finally, Ouyang Zhan also descended from the sky. Staring at Long Fei, he laughed. Long Fei, your time of death is up. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled slightly, and with a wave of his right hand, the Pangu axe was summoned out. He laughed sinisterly. It's time to display my new cultivation skill. Chapter 956, Nox's Great Technique, Severing Platform. Chapter 956, Nox's Great Technique, Severing Platform. Pangu Axe. In that instant, Pan Sheng recognized him. The Pangu Axe was a holy artifact that had been passed down in the Pan family for millions of years. Pan Sheng could feel the aura flowing through its body in an instant. Buzz! The power in Pan Sheng's body suddenly sank. At this time, a disciple rushed over and said to Pan Sheng, Young master, we just received news. The great clan elder, Pan Sheng said furiously, Speak. The Pan family disciple said, Great elder, you're dead. Their heads were chopped off. Cluck, cluck. Pan Sheng stared at Long Fei, who was on the stage. The anger in his heart was boiling, his teeth chattering loudly. Long Fei, I will definitely use your life to accompany the great clan elder's death. He was already a child because of Pan Zhan, so Pan Zhan was extremely important to him. Who would have thought that she would actually die now? Pan Sheng's killing intent soared to the limit. In the arena, Long Fei carried his Pangu axe on his shoulder and gave off a vicious aura. Looking at the 16 bosses that surrounded him in a circle, the corners of his mouth slightly curled up as he let out a cold laugh. 16 Principle. You guys can also be considered as the 16 most powerful powerhouses, right? If I kill all of you, then this God Emperor Academy is my king. Ouyang Zhan sneered. Long Fei, you think too much. Since you're so arrogant that you want to challenge our 16 principles, then don't think you can walk off the stage alive today. You will pay the price for being arrogant. For Principal Vermilion Bird. For the Elixir Branch. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. The auras of the 16 became ferocious, and pressure after pressure pressed down on Long Fei's head like mountains. The 16 headmasters were all the other powerhouse of the Golden Immortal stage. Very, very strong. The pressure of 16 people combined together and smashed down once again. Long Fei's body suddenly sank as his legs trembled, unable to withstand this pressure. His mind and his sea of consciousness began to stir. Not even the Golden Dragon Guardian was able to withstand it. Long Fei's current level was too low, completely on a different level. Even the Golden Dragon Master's Dragon Guardian could not withstand it. Yin Huang Ancestor slightly said, "Brat, do you want me to make a move?" Yin Huang Ancestor had not fought for a long time. He could feel Long Fei's state of mind. His sea of consciousness was in intense turmoil. His mental state was on the verge of collapse. And Yin Huang Ancestor couldn't help but to worry for Long Fei. Long Fei laughed sinisterly and said, "No need. I will kill them myself." Haha. The stronger he was, the crazier he became. Long Fei said excitedly, "Is that all you have?" He became even more arrogant. Is he crazy? The combined power of 16 other Golden Immortal Stage powerhouses is something he simply cannot endure. What is he trying to do? Isn't this Long Fei too arrogant? I was wondering who gave him this confidence. Right now, he is completely crushed. He can't even move a muscle. Discussions started in the surrounding stands. They knew clearly that Long Fei was strong, but no matter how strong he was only a virtual immortal stage, and no matter how strong he wasn't a match for the 16 Golden Immortal powerhouses. Furthermore, there was still the Golden Immortal Stage Level 7 Super Powerhouse, Ouyang Zhan. How could he be an opponent? It was completely impossible. Chun Tianfei frowned. He approached the stage once again. He was also a little worried. Aoyu was a little worried and asked, "Will Long Fei be all right?" Song Qianqian also followed and went closer to the stage and said, "If anything happens to him, everyone must go together and protect Long Fei." Understood. Supreme God used the Great Void Mirror to look at Long Fei, who was being crushed on the stage, and said slightly, 16 headmasters, how are you going to fight? Are the people from the Long family very arrogant? In my opinion, this is a kind of brainless, suicidal maniac. Even if it was Supreme God, he would not be able to see any signs of Long Fei turning the tables on him, because the difference was just too great. Supreme God sneered in his heart. This will also help you understand the truth of how Powerhouse is king in this world. Then, you can obediently help me search for Dragontail Tomb, and help me get there as soon as possible. All of the elders of the Palace Question of God had a disdainful and cold smile on their faces, mocking Long Fei for overestimating his own strength. Arrogant. Long Fei, weren't you being too arrogant just now? Now that you've been crushed to the point that you can't even move, let's see how you still act so arrogantly. Ha ha ha. Brat, prepare to die. A few people laughed loudly. They were happy to see Long Fei being crushed. Long Fei was too arrogant. They had caused many people to feel displeased, and now that they were being crushed, they began to madly vent their anger and mock him. Ouyang Zhan also laughed coldly. Long Fei, how come you have become a dead dog now? Weren't you being arrogant just now? Aren't you arrogant? Now, continue being so arrogant. Kid, today is the day you die. Against our 18 matrial halls? With just trash from a Nantian region like you. You think you are worthy? When we first rejected you, it was precisely because you were someone who came from Nantian region. Nantian region only produced trash. The 16 chairman ruthlessly laughed at him. After being crushed by Long Fei for 3 whole days, they could finally vent out their resentment. At this moment, he couldn't help but laugh. The pressure became even more severe as Long Fei's body bent down heavily and his legs trembled crazily. His mind was in turmoil as the aura in his sea of consciousness churned. Long Fei's face was pale white, and he couldn't even breathe loudly. It had to be said that the combined strength of 16 golden immortal powerhouse as far exceeded his expectations. However, Long Fei wasn't anxious at all. He was still waiting, still waiting. Suddenly, Ouyang Zhan suddenly roared out and said, "Brat, kneel down." At this moment, Ouyang Zhan retracted his might and turned it into an even stronger pressure as it pressed down. The instant his pressure retracted, Long Fei's body suddenly stiffened. The Pangu axe on his shoulder descended and shuddered. Both of his hands clenched as he suddenly hooked them towards the courtyard of the College of Martial Arts Training, which had a golden exclamation mark floating above his head. He then pulled. This move is called Merciless Iron Hand. He had comprehended a skill. The array master was pulled down to Long Fei's side, and the Pangu axe slashed down. 2 drops of black blood floated above the sect leader's body. Without waiting for him to run, Long Fei slashed again. 3 drops. 4 drops. Swiftly launching an attack, he stuck to the side of the other party, not giving him any chance to retaliate at all. At the same time, the amount of black blood flowing from the head of the spell formation was gradually increasing. 5 drops. As Long Fei looked at the 5 points of black blood on the formation dean's body, the corner of his mouth curled up. At this time, a blood-red glow surrounded his body, just like blood. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for activating Nox SAS Decapitator. Do you want to release it? The corner of Long Fei's mouth quirked into an excited smile. Release. He leaped. With both hands on the axe, he chopped down towards the head of the College of Martial Arts Training's array formation headmaster. I'll let you experience my new move. Boom. Chapter 957. 15 chops. Chapter 957. 15 chops. The sword chopped down. Lightning type basket. The Pangu axe also erupted with incomparable strength at this moment. The power to split heaven and earth apart was unleashed. It was extremely terrifying. Rumble. A loud sound rang out in the air. A powerful force slashed down. Boom. The head of the array headmaster was chopped off. One-hit kill. The strength of the guillotine. This was the skill that Long Fei had used 180,000 skill redemption point to exchange for inside the God Emperor Fairyland. It was a complete mess. The entire audience was silent. In that instant, Long Fei rose to the top and killed the formation master within half a second. Was the golden immortal powerhouse so unbearable? Killed him just like that? Many people felt their scalps go numb. They could not understand what this power was. What kind of sacred art was Long Fei releasing? Chun Tianfei roared in anger. The boss is powerful and domineering, pulling so much cool that it can explode the heavens. The shock of their souls was simply too great. It was indescribable shock because they couldn't understand it. That was why it was so mysterious. And because it was so mysterious, it caused their hearts to tremble even more. Just this strong. Pan Sheng's brows tightened. He could not understand this move either. On Palace Question of God, those high and mighty Fairy Hall elders' faces turned cold and ugly, as if they had been slapped in the face. Supreme God's expression also secretly changed as he slightly narrowed his eyes. However, and this is not the end, out of the 16 bosses, 1 was dead, while the other 15 were left. Long Fei looked at the items dropped by the system and cursed in his heart. F***CK. I still haven't obtained a rank 5 immortal root. Then let's continue. With a move, he rushed into the group of bosses. With both hands holding onto the Pangu axe, he suddenly turned around. The axe rotated. A powerful slicing force formed. All of the headmasters had a little bit of black blood on their bodies. The amount of health on their heads was also decreasing bit by bit. Ouyang Zhan quickly came to his senses, shouted loudly. Everyone stay away from him. You guys use coercion. I'll attack. You want to leave? No way. The Pangu axe in Long Fei's hands suddenly hooked, and with a pull, it pulled back several headmasters. After continuously attacking, it stared at a headmaster who was floating with exclamation marks in its eyes. 1 drop, 2 drops, 3 drops, 5 drops. Buzz. The cooldown on Nox's decapitation platform instantly ended. As long as it beheaded someone, its cooldown would end in an instant. In that moment, Long Fei jumped out heavily and shouted out, "Second slash." Beheaded. Dying. Boom. Long Fei's body turned blood red again, as though he was enraged with blood. He leapt high into the air and ruthlessly slashed at the head of one of the principal. Crack. Head severed, body dead, system beep ringing. Long Fei still did not reveal his rank 5 immortal foundation. He thought in his heart, "Damn, I'm really going to go crazy. Is rank 5 immortal foundation so difficult? I don't believe this." The more he wanted to explode, the less explosive it would be. Was truly very injured, because as long as his skills were interrupted, as long as he was unable to kill anyone within a certain period of time, then the power of his great technique would enter a long cooldown. Even if there was only one golden immortal powerhouse left, without any external force, he would be crushed to death in an instant. Again, a massacre in every direction. His body spun again. Then he pulled, launching a barrage of attacks. 5 drops. The 3rd slash. Boom! With the same movement, he leapt high into the air and smashed down with a lightning bolt in the form of a basket. A bloody mist appeared around Long Fei's body. Ding! The system beep rang. Still no immortal foundation exploded out. 3 slashes in a row. 3 slashes in a row. Long Fei completed the quest in a short span of half a minute. His heart also started to worry. LOL game. This skill can only kill 5 people. There's a total of 5 enemies, and most 5 kills. How many kills can he do? Will there be restrictions? I can't care so much anymore. If you don't destroy the immortal foundation, don't stop attacking. Long Fei roared out in his heart. Regardless of whether or not there were any restrictions, he wanted to cut them all down and send them all the way to the guillotine. It exploded all the way down. Boom! 4th killer. Boom! 5th kill. Long Fei saw a skill that was on cooldown, and in the instant that he killed it, the skill did not go into cooldown, and he became excited in his heart. Ha ha ha! Kill them all. While Long Fei was killing his colleagues, his body also received a heavy blow. Ouyang Zhan and some of the headmasters continued to attack, and each of their attacks caused huge damage to Long Fei. Long Fei was a madman. So what if his health point was dropping crazily? So what if many parts of his body had turned into bloody holes? He wanted to cut it down. 6th slash. Boom. The 7th slash. Boom. One after another. Heads flew off. Bodies fell one after another. Experience points superimposing as the wounds on Long Fei's body superimposed. The wound was painful and the killing was exciting. Long Fei was now in a mixture of pain and excitement. Everyone in the audience was staring at him. He didn't understand it all. Was completely stunned by Long Fei's explosive strength. 7 chops. The 7 headmasters of the Golden Immortal Powerhouse S were killed. This Long Fei is too terrifying, isn't he? What does he want to do? Could it be that he wants to kill all of the 18 matrial halls' principals? My God! His head was going numb, and even his brain was on the verge of collapsing. The president of the 18 matrial halls, the 18 strongest people of the God Emperor Academy, they controlled everything in the God Emperor Academy. If they were all killed, then the God Emperor Academy's strength will probably be greatly weakened. At that time, on Palace Question of God, an elder immediately said, "Supreme God, we cannot let this brat continue acting recklessly. He must be suppressed." I second that. Me too. Who cares if he's a Long family or some other kind of Nantian region? We have to suppress this brat. Otherwise, the God Emperor Academy will be destroyed by him. Supreme God also seemed to have realized something. He didn't want Long Fei to create a new college of martial arts training. Even if it was created, he would let it be destroyed. But now, Not only did Long Fei want to establish a new college of martial arts training, he also wanted to monopolize the entire God Emperor Academy. Supreme God thought of Qiu Wandao. Thinking of his theory, God Emperor Academy that was free from the control of the palace question of God. Suddenly, Supreme God's eyes suddenly opened wide. Long Fei, you are too arrogant. It seems like I'm not going to teach you a lesson. You really do not put me in your eyes. And then, his idea immediately sent a sound transmission to Pan Sheng. It was also at this time. Long Fei came down from above and used his axe to chop down 15 slash. Ouyang Zhan, it's your turn now. Chapter 958 No One Can Stop Me. Chapter 958 No One Can Stop Me Buzz. Nox's guillotine was activated once again. Pointing the axe in his hand, Long Fei pointed to the lonely Ouyang Zhan on the stage and laughed coldly. Ouyang Zhan, it's your turn. 15 of the 16 chairmen were slain. His body was decapitated. He died an incomparably miserable death. It wasn't a challenge, it was a one-sided massacre. Originally, everyone thought that Long Fei was too arrogant, and would be tortured to death. Long Fei did not die. 15 headmasters died. It was hard to imagine. It was like a scene from the infernal realm. Long Fei's entire body was covered in blood. Both of their gazes were gloomy as they stared at Ouyang Zhan and said, "You are the only one that flipped your 18 matrial halls over. Ouyang Zhan, didn't you always want my life? Come now, think of all the things he did." When he thought of Dao Feng, Fat Man Chun, and the others who almost died on the stage, and how Xiao Ying, Han Xueji, and Ling Long were almost tainted on the stage, the anger in Long Fei's heart grew even more. Towards those who deserved to be killed, Long Fei would definitely not be merciful in the slightest. So what if he was the principal of the 18 matrial halls? If they provoked him, they would have to kill him. Ouyang Zhan looked at the corpse on the stage, and his body started to tremble. In a short few minutes, he seemed to not be in the human world, but in hell. Too terrifying. No matter how they attacked, Long Fei would not die. Moreover, the more he killed, the more valiant he became. That heaven-splitting axe of his was dyed with the blood of the 15 headmasters. It was incomparably terrifying. At this moment, the Golden Immortal Stage Level 7 Ouyang Zhan's heart was on the verge of collapse. He felt that Long Fei was not a human at all, but a monster, a killing machine. Ouyang Zhan, Long Fei suddenly roared. "Come, didn't you want to kill me? Aren't you always targeting lousy? Come up now." His voice was deafening. Ouyang Zhan was so scared that his legs immediately went soft. His eyes trembled as he looked at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, you can't kill me." He kept retreating. "Ha ha, can't kill you. So what if you're a green dragon human?" Long Fei gave a cold laugh and said, "So it's Principal Shenlong. I'll also kill him." Suddenly, Long Fei's body moved, the Pangu axe in his hands dragged on the ground, sparks flying in all directions. Long Fei's bloodied body charged forward and looked at the last person, the last of the 18 Arhut missions. No matter what, Long Fei would not let him escape. "Ouyang Zhan, die for me," Long Fei roared. Ouyang Zhan was so scared that his face turned white. He had already lost his ability to fight and was rolling and shouting, "Save me! Save me! Fairy Hall Elders, save me! Hurry up and save me!" This was the first time a 9th-stage Virtual Immortals cultivator scared a 7th-stage Golden Immortal like this. If a person's heart was broken down, then his battle prowess would be practically zero. Fighting. It was a matter of strength, but once you meet a lunatic who doesn't care for his life, you'll find that power is useless. He just wants to kill you. You'll be scared. Ouyang Zhan was like that. His cultivation was much higher than Long Fei's, but when Long Fei consecutively killed 15 people, he was instantly scared silly and did not know how to retaliate. There was only one thing on his mind, life. Even the gods can't save you. The Pangu axe in Long Fei's hand moved and suddenly pulled, shwa. He turned around. Shwa. Ouyang Zhan crawled on the ground, his entire body shivering. The principal of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall, who was so far away, had now turned into such a state? Who could imagine? Long Fei continued to attack. 1 drop, 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops. Buzz! Long Fei entered the Blood Fury realm and activated the guillotine skill. The stench of blood that erupted from his body made Ouyang Zhan pee even more as he shouted loudly, "Don't kill me! Don't kill me!" At this moment, 19 figures suddenly rushed out, shouting out, "Long Fei, enough!" It was also at this time the 8 Fairy Hall Elders instantly rushed out and hovered above Long Fei's head. Their eyebrows sunk and they shouted, "Kid, have you killed enough?" 19 and the Fairy Hall Elder appeared at the same time. Moreover, they were all floating above Long Fei's head. With such a high and mighty attitude, Long Fei was very unhappy. So what if he was the law enforcement agency's master? So what if you're an elder of a palace question of God? Ouyang Zhan was also instantly excited and said, 19, save me. Quickly kill this brat. Lord Fairy Hall Elder, quickly kill this brat. He killed so many headmasters, he deserves to die 1,000 times for his crimes. Kill him, kill him. He would only be at ease if Long Fei died. Only then could the fear in his heart disappear. If Long Fei didn't die, he would live in fear forever. 19th Dean and Fairy Hall Elder appeared at the same time. This made Ouyang Zhan feel like he was grabbing onto a lifesaver in a vast ocean. He roared at Long Fei, "Brat, it's time for your death, huh? Kill me if you dare. I'm the principal of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall. The most talented disciples are all in my Green Dragon Matrial Hall. Palace question of God will not let me die. Huh? Ha ha." Ouyang Zhan laughed very excitedly. Since Fairy Hall Elder and 19 attacked at the same time, then he definitely wouldn't die. Of course, this was what Ouyang Zhan thought himself. The corner of Long Fei's mouth raised slightly, and he coldly laughed, saying, "I won't let you die? He." Ouyang Zhan, I said it earlier, when the Heavenly Emperor comes, he can't even think of stopping me. His body moved. In that instant, 19 frowned his forehead, and a strong pressure came crashing down. He shouted out, "Long Fei, did I make you stop and hear it?" Long Fei's body did not stop moving. The pressure exuded by the 8 Fairy Hall Elders also came crashing down as they shouted, "Brat, you're too arrogant. If you dare touch him today, I'll make sure you die without a burial ground." "How dare I?" "Ha ha." Long Fei laughed crazily and said, "What's wrong with this kind of arrogance? I'll let you experience what it means to be arrogant." He roared in his heart. Level 7 Peerless, open. Boom. A attribute power of 128 times erupted. In that instant, breaking through the bindings of the pressure, his body leaped, the Pangu axe rose up in the air. His aura was like a god of death. For the task of killing the 18 Arhats, Ouyang Zhan had to kill them. Before his immortal foundation could be revealed, Ouyang Zhan had to die. The boss must be killed. Those insidious and despicable things that Ouyang Zhan did, he had to kill. Long Fei roared, "No one can stop me, no one. Ouyang Zhan, die." Boom. Chapter 959. System. Are you trying to send me to heaven? Chapter 959. System. Are you trying to send me to heaven? A slash. Unstoppable. Ouyang Zhan looked at the Pangu axe that was falling down from the sky and screamed, "Save me," before he could finish his words. The Pangu axe then slashed down. Crack. Boom. The axe cut the head off, and the body was split into 2. The system notification sound also sounded at this time, and Long Fei also moved his idea, release the berserk energy. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Ouyang Zhan for obtaining 190,000 experience, 18,000 power of celestial, and 10 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Azure Rainbow Divine Sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Azure Dragon Battle Armor. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 12 Immortal Crystals. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 5th grade Immortal Foundation Blue Spirit Grass. Do you wish to fuse it? The system beep continued to ring, and Long Fei also started to become extremely nervous because this was the last boss of the 18 bosses and also the strongest boss. When Long Fei heard the words Grade 5 Immortal Root, he instantly became excited. Damn, it's finally out. Finally, it's out. Long Fei was on the verge of tears. Unable to level up with over 3 billion experience points, this was such a painful thing. Now it was finally revealed. However, when Long Fei saw a rank 5 Immortal Foundation, his heart shivered. Damn, my luck is so bad. Why is it a Spirit Grass Immortal Root? Why isn't it a Battle Immortal Root? Long Fei did not merge them immediately. It was also at this time. The system sounded out once again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for training Killing Thought. To level up, you have obtained the Blood Fury effect. Huh, he can level up after killing. Long Fei was secretly shocked, because he had killed them too quickly and decisively, and because he had felt too good about it, his Killing Thought had immediately transformed, becoming an even stronger killing path. This type of killing technique carried a powerful pressure. With the Blood Fury skill, this was a type of boost to his strength. The Yin Huang ancestor slightly said, all types of Tao techniques must be upgraded. Whether it is the power of 3,000 great Daos or the power of 10,000 small Daos, they will all increase along with your training. It's just that. Your killing path can only be broken through by gaining insights into the profound truths of killings. Obviously, you've just killed 16 people in a row. You're not afraid of death, not caring about obstructing them, and you also have a murderous intent in your heart that has allowed your killing intent to break through. Brat, from today onwards, you are truly on the right path. The path of killing is very difficult, and the slightest mistake will lead to eternal damnation. You must be careful, and do not let the path of killing swallow your heart and control you. Yin Huang ancestor said with a lingering fear. The risk factor for killing one's way through tens of thousands of Daos was the highest. Even in the Chaos realm, there were not many people who walked the path of kill. The more you kill while cultivating, the more punishment you would suffer from. If one wanted to break through the plane of existence and undergo the baptism of heavenly tribulation, that would be the truly terrifying moment. The Yin Huang ancestor did not stop Long Fei from cultivating the way of killing, because from the very beginning, Long Fei had always walked down a path of killing with no path of retreat. This was also the only path that suited him. No matter what happens in the future, the Yin Huang ancestor would do everything to protect him. Long Fei said seriously, I'll remember. Since I have set foot on this path, I will bravely advance without taking even half a step back. I will also not allow any power to control my body. My life is not under the heavens. Yin Huang ancestor laughed out loud and said, what a great saying. I won't be able to control myself from the heavens. At this moment, the system sounded out again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the 18 Arhats quest. You have received a reward of 1 million experience and 30,000 power of celestial points. Ding! System evaluation. Ding! Mission rating S+. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the fusion of the 18 Arhat attributes and the refinement of the Arhat King Kong. Level of condensing to 1%. A progress bar appeared in Long Fei's mind. As he moved forward bit by bit, Long Fei became excited in his heart. Arhat King Kong. Is this the 8th King Kong? Ha ha! If the black knife is an arrogant knife King Kong, then I have gathered all my 8 King Kong. Oh yeah. Yes. We need to capture Aoya's Sword Force King Kong first. With the activation of the Arhat King Kong, all of the 8 King Kong S had appeared. Now, Long Fei only needed to complete the Arhat King Kong one by one. Now, all they had to do was wait for Oya to be captured. When Long Fei was really excited, the system beep would ring again at this time. It rang continuously, and even Long Fei was a little confused. Damn it. The system seems a little abnormal today. What's the situation? He really wants me to go to heaven. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Ouyang Zhan. As soon as he finished, a shining gift package box appeared in the system interface in his mind. Long Fei clicked it, and a gold light flashed as a card appeared in Long Fei's mind. Long Fei was startled. What is this? The idea once again clicked. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for activating the card. You have gained 100 experience, 100 power of Celestial, and a special 100 points reward. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Hand of Noxus. Do you want to summon him? Gudong! Long Fei swallowed hard, looking at the extremely ferocious card, just like a wild beast with skin of an expert. It's about to go up. This tempo is definitely going to reach the heavens. Long Fei's little heart could not take it anymore. She came too suddenly, completely unable to adapt. And then, Long Fei immediately looked at the properties of Nox. Hero, Hand of Noxus, Basketball Expert, Rank, Saint Description, possessed all skills of a hero. Level increase will grant you equipment, and equipment will be chosen by the player. Looking at the hero description, Long Fei was completely dumbfounded. It can even be equipped. Blackie, Bloody Hand, still all of the damage output equipment? Damn it, system your head. Are you trying to make my heart explode? It feels so good, I like it, haha. Long Fei laughed sinisterly. Thinking that he still had a set of rewards from the God Emperor Fairyland, he laughed in his heart. Will he also reward that hero with a card? Ha. Long Fei's blood boiled with excitement. At this moment, Long Fei bellowed. Damn it, I only have one question. Who else? It was amazing. And with his words, the peace of the entire martial arts arena was broken. 19 flew into a rage. All the members of the 8 Fairy Hall Elderess had extremely ugly expressions. Long Fei had killed someone right under their noses and did not place them in his eyes at all. The rage raged. It was also at this time that Pan Sheng, who was in the stands, slowly stood up. His gaze carried killing intent as he said coldly, Now it's my turn to go up on stage. Chapter 960, Fighting Pan Sheng. Chapter 960, Fighting Pan Sheng. He was completely a madman. He had killed 16 College of Martial Arts training principal consecutively, and he himself was also severely injured. How fierce was this? A roar woke everyone up. Long Fei, 19, was the first to shout out in anger. The 8 Fairy Hall Elder S descended together, their eyes filled with killing intent. They thought that they could control everything in the tournament, but it seems like they could not control anything at all. The principal of 18 Matrial Halls was completely killed by Long Fei. The current God Emperor Academy could be said to be in chaos. This was not good for the layout of the Palace Question of God. The Fairy Hall Elder is about to make his move. Everyone get ready. With Song Chanshan's order, before she could even finish speaking, Aoya flew out and directly landed beside Long Fei on the stage, staring at one of the Fairy Hall Elderess. Aoya's eyes were filled with killing intent. The Fairy Hall Elder also disdainfully sneered. Do you want to die like your father? Aoya's heart was filled with rage. At this time, boom! Chun Tianfei heavily landed. Try touching my boss. Boom! Song Chanshan also fell down. Mantal Yuo, Xiao Ying, Ling Long, and the members of Arrogant Dragon Squad all rushed to the stage, protecting Long Fei on his left and right side. He stared at Long Fei and shouted, Long Fei, you want to rebel? Long Fei smiled faintly and said, Why do I want to rebel? They have always been the ones who want to take my life. Law enforcement agency leader, may I ask, did I do something wrong? The muscles in the corners of his eyes twitched slightly as he said, You killed 18 principal of College of Martial Arts training, and countless genius disciples were killed by you. God Emperor Academy's strength decreased by half in an instant. And now you ask me what you did wrong? Long Fei, are you not clear about what you have done? More than half of 18 Matrial Halls' elite disciples had died. The 18 principals had all fallen. God Emperor Academy's power was not as simple as it seemed to be. It had only just started, and a series of chain reactions had yet to occur. Once this matter was spread out, the God Emperor Academy would probably end up as a second-rate academy. Moreover, the might of the Western Desel territory, without the deterrence of the God Emperor Academy, would become stronger and would be a probing attack. When that time came, who would be able to stop him? Long Fei shrugged his shoulders and said, 19th principle, you need to understand something. Do you think it's me who wants to kill them? Which one of the people I killed didn't want to kill me? Which one of you doesn't want to step on me? I issued a challenge to them. They can refuse. Did I force them to accept it? They can admit or refuse to accept the challenge of the 18 principles. Who told them to rush down here and die by my hands? Just say that I'm the one causing trouble? I'm afraid you know who is causing this, right? 19 pairs of eyes stared at him and coldly said, You are trying to force the truth out of me. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted and said, I don't care what you say, team competition, alchemy competition, personal qualifying fight. I've already won. 5,000 points is enough. Today, I want to establish a new college of martial arts training. In addition, one more thing. All 18 principal of College of Martial Arts Training were defeated by one person. That is, I am now the leader of the 18 matrial halls. Long Fei slightly smiled, looked at 19, and said, According to the rules, what I said should be correct, right? 19 laughed sinisterly and said, Long Fei, I have to say, you're really thinking too much, aren't you? I haven't even punished you. Yet you directly turned yourself into a dean? You still have law enforcement agency in your eyes? Are there still palace question of goddess? Long Fei laughed. Do you want to speak the truth? 19 looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said, To be honest, I really do not think much of you. How dare you? How dare you? Brat, you're courting death. 19 and 8 Fairy Hall Elder S roared in anger. Long Fei's actions and words had undoubtedly touched upon their nerves. Who would dare to be so disrespectful to the palace question of God? You're looking to die, right? Long Fei stared at one of the Fairy Hall Elder and said, I'm just looking to die. If you have the guts, come and bite me. Why would I be afraid of you? He bellowed. He released a strong killing intent and thought to himself, I just want to test the power of Nox. The call card S had yet to be used. How strong was Nox? How strong were the Saint-level cards? To be honest, Long Fei really wanted to know. The Fairy Hall Elder's eyes turned sinister as he said solemnly, If I don't teach you a lesson today, you'll be out of your mind. Buzz! With his fighting strength activated, the chi on Fairy Hall Elder's body burst out, forming a strong pressure. Completely infuriated, Long Fei frowned. Aoya took a step forward, pointed the revenge blade in her hands at the Fairy Hall Elder, and said, I want to avenge my father, and for my mother. At this moment, a figure descended from the skies. He landed between Aoya and the Fairy Hall Elder, his aura forming a huge wave that directly blew Aoya away. Long Fei slightly retreated, grabbing onto Aoya, who was in the air. Both of his eyes stared straight at Pan Sheng. The man was Pan Sheng. Pan Sheng's face carried a cold smile and had a haughty look. He looked at Long Fei with contempt and said, Is my name something that a trash like you can call? The entire martial arts practice hall was also in an uproar. First, Devil Slayer, Pan Sheng. Didn't he go to the outer space palace? Wow, the power aura on his body is so strong. The number 1 Devil Slayer, the strongest person among the young generation of the gods' martial continent. He is an invincible genius and also a legacy disciple of the supreme god. Does he want Long Fei to take action? In Thunder Mountains, he defeated Long Fei in one move, and right now, it has been half a year. His cultivation is unfathomable. No matter how strong Long Fei is, he shouldn't be his match, right? Discussions broke out. The influence of the Devil Slayer was extremely strong. Compared to half a year ago, Pan Sheng had become much stronger. The haughtiness and pride in his eyes had grown by leaps and bounds. In his eyes, Long Fei was still the same as half a year ago, unable to withstand a single blow. Although he had killed 16 principal powerhouses in a row, Pan Sheng still did not place him in his eyes, because his cultivation realm had already reached the Yuan Xian realm, an existence strong enough to crush Long Fei. Long Fei slightly smiled and said, I do not have the qualifications to call you by your name, right? Pan Sheng, you bastard. What do you think about this name? Pan Sheng squinted his eyes, revealing killing intent. Then, he said to the 8 Fairy Hall Elder S. Elders, leave him to me. Half a year ago, I was able to crush him like a dead dog. His battle intent began to blaze. Long Fei said to Chen Tianfei and the others, You may leave first. Song Qianjian slightly said, Long Fei, this person is too strong. Long Fei laughed. Half a year ago I lost now. I want him dead, because he had his eyes on the Pan Gu sword too. So I'm going to kill him. Chapter 961, Blend of Fairy Vein. Chapter 961, Blend of Fairy Vein. Seeing Pan Sheng's appearance, Long Fei was secretly surprised. He's the boss of the Academy's competition? Golden. The golden light emitting from his body was even more intense than the one coming from the body of the 18 Matrial Halls' principal. Since he appeared at this time as well, and as the champion, that would inevitably be the boss. Long Fei looked up at the sky and muttered to himself in his heart, Supreme God, this is also what you mean, right? The people on the stage all left. The 8 Fairy Hall Elder S looked at Long Fei, their eyes filled with ridicule. It was as if everything was under their control. As the Reaper, Pan Sheng would come out in the end, and the first Devil Slayer would once again shine. As long as he was able to defeat Long Fei, the influence of the Pan family would surge to an unprecedented high point. It had to be said that Pan Sheng's play was very beautiful. However, the premise was that he had to win. Only Long Fei and him were left on the stage. Long Fei looked at Pan Sheng. At this time, he did not have any rank 5 immortal roots, so the use of blue spirit grass immortal roots was not very useful to Long Fei. No rush. In the beginning, Long Fei was very anxious to not reveal his immortal foundation, but now that he did, Long Fei was actually not worried at all. Pan Sheng's gaze darkened as he stared at Long Fei with disdain. Long Fei, you are not my opponent. I'll give you a chance to lessen the pain. Kneel down. Kowtow. I will let you die without any pain. Very confident. It showed the confidence of a powerhouse. In his eyes, Long Fei was vulnerable. He did not place Long Fei in his eyes at all. A 9th stage virtual immortals cultivator was nothing more than trash in his eyes. Long Fei sneered, raised the Pan Gu axe in his hand, and said, Do you know how Panjan died? Just like them, I kill them all. Pan Sheng, if you didn't come out today, then it would be fine. At least you could live a few more years, but you didn't die yet you ran out instead. Aren't you courting death? I'll give you a chance to live. Kneel down and sing a song for me. If you make me happy, maybe I will let you live for a few more years. Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, the anger and killing intent in Pan Sheng's heart surged. His gaze turned cold. You're courting death. Shua. Pan Sheng's figure disappeared. So fast. Brat, be careful. His cultivation is above the Golden Immortal Peak realm. He is probably in the Yuan Xian realm. Your current cultivation is not his match. Yin Huang and the old man quickly warned as he was constantly paying attention to the dangerous atmosphere around them. Pan Sheng was extremely fast. Long Fei couldn't react at all. He couldn't even see what was happening. Moreover, at this time, the knapsack platform was in its cool-down state and could not be used anymore for a short period of time. Boom! With his chest splitting apart, Long Fei's body caved in as he explosively retreated. The Pan Gu axe's head in his hands also fell to the ground. His body flew out like a remnant thread. Bang! He heavily smashed onto the ground, and before Long Fei could stand up, Pan Sheng's figure disappeared once again. Even a trash like you dares to be so arrogant in front of me? Long Fei, you are too weak, understand? Boom! Another move, and Long Fei was sent flying again. Long Fei tried to resist. However, his reaction speed could not keep up, his strength could not keep up, and everything else could not keep up with Pan Shung's speed. He did not even have this feeling when dealing with powerhouse of the Golden Immortal rank. Their strength was truly different. The difference between the strength of Golden Immortal rank and the strength of Yuan Xian was like heaven and earth. Amongst the 9 great realms of the Immortal Domain, the Yuan Xian is a hurdle. The difference of 1 level was like the difference between heaven and earth. It was an insurmountable existence. Damn! Long Fei was not convinced in his heart. Glancing at his health point, he shouted angrily in his heart, "This father doesn't believe it yet." Buzz. Level 7 Unrivaled. Open. A attribute power of 128 times exploded out. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. At this time, Pan Shung's figure disappeared once again. I can't see, I still can't see. Long Fei continued to look and feel Pan Shung's speed. Even when he unleashed his unparalleled level 7, he was still unable to sense Pan Shung's position. The difference in level was simply too great. Boom! Bang! With a loud sound, Long Fei was once again sent flying. Pan Shung's figure landed. Long Fei, continue being so arrogant. Didn't you want to prove that the people of the Nantian region are not trash? Didn't you want to prove that your Long family people are powerful? Didn't you threaten to step on my Pan family again? What is it now? How did he turn into a dead dog? Pan Shung's voice exploded within the martial arts arena. Very arrogant. Very arrogant. The successive blows just now had completely crushed Long Fei. Long Fei didn't even have the chance to retaliate. Everyone in the martial arts arena were stunned. He was strong for Long Fei to be able to kill the 18 principals, but Pan Shung was stronger than him, and that was the disparity. This also showed how strong Pan Shung was and how incomparable he was. Moreover, Pan Shung acted as if he was on the top, as if he was a superior. As soon as his voice fell, the martial arts arena began to discuss with him. The number 1 Devil Slayer is truly worthy of being called the number 1 Devil Slayer. No matter how strong Long Fei is, he is no match for Lord Pan Shung. Ha ha ha. Let's see if he still dares to be arrogant. Now that he has been abused like a dog, he deserves it. The difference in realm is too great. Is it not unfair? Pan Shung's cultivation has reached the Yuan Xian realm, but Long Fei is the virtual immortal stage. The difference is too great. Fair? The word fairness did not exist in Senior Sister. Long Fei asked for it. It was very long and was extremely arrogant. But what about now? Just a dead dog, haha. What about those who call themselves dragons? Why isn't there a sound now? All of you have become mute? Many people started to mock Long Fei, mocking him because he was arrogant and conceited, like a dead dog in front of Pan Shung. He had no way of resisting. 19 pairs of hands crossed over his chest as the law enforcement agency floated in the air, laughing coldly. The 8 Fairy Hall Elder-S were the same. They too had a haughty and aloof look, with complacent sneers hanging on their faces. Seeing Long Fei's complete destruction, they all revealed a look of despise, as they did not have any intention of stopping him. Such an arrogant person should be taught a lesson, a fierce lesson. Let him know how high the sky is and how thick the earth is. Many people look forward to seeing Long Fei's joke. From the start of the competition to now, Long Fei's arrogance had crushed them. Now that they finally saw what they wanted to see, many people burst out in laughter. Fat Man Shin looked at the bloody Long Fei on the stage and started to move closer to the stage. Pan Shung looked at the dying Long Fei with a complacent expression. He sneered and said, "When I was in Thunder Mountains, I could kill you, but I didn't kill you because you don't even have the qualifications to be killed by me. Today, you are still the same, but..." Pan Shung's voice grew louder. "For the God Emperor Academy's innocent deaths, today I will kill you with my own hands." Long Fei did not care about him at all and muttered to himself, "Seems like I really have to raise my level increase. If that's the case. Fuse." Chapter 962, Fucking Hit Me. Chapter 962, Fucking Hit Me. He really did not want to merge with an immortal foundation that was not compatible with his cultivation level. This was the reason why Long Fei had yet to fuse with the blue spirit grass. He only wanted to fuse with a fighting type of immortal foundation, who knew that Ouyang Zhan would only fuse a kind of spirit grass immortal root, and it was even a useless blue spirit grass. Long Fei really didn't want to fuse them, but now he was forced to the edge of a cliff. Fuse. Long Fei's voice sunk as the blue spirit grass disappeared. His body frantically absorbed the blue spirit grass's energy. Fusion. Fuse what? What else can you fuse with at this time? Blend of fairy vein. So what if you broke through to the blood immortal realm? He's still a piece of trash, huh? Pan Sheng was not in a hurry to make a move on Long Fei. He wanted to tease him and stomp hard on his face. Moreover, he really enjoyed playing with Long Fei. Boom, boom, boom. Long Fei's body kept on releasing the sound of energy rumbling. The blend of fairy vein needed a little more time. Arrogant. There's only one outcome for you to act arrogantly in front of me. Just you wait. Long Fei's body quickly absorbed the Immortal Foundation's power. The Class 5 Immortal Foundation, Blue Spirit Grass's power was crazily being devoured by him. At the same time, his experience slot started to vibrate. How many levels can a 3 billion experience reach? Long Fei looked forward to it in his heart. What is he doing? At this time, the blend of fairy vein, has he gone crazy? So what if the fusion is successful? At most, he is only at the first stage of the Blood Immortal stage. There is nothing he can do. He is simply no match for Pan Sheng. I think he's just deliberately mystifying. He can't come up with anything special. Young Master Pan, don't waste time with him. Kill him, kill him, kill him. Revenge for the 18 principles. Revenge for our dead disciples. Kill him. His voice grew stronger and stronger. Pan Sheng also laughed complacently as he looked at Long Fei and laughed excitedly. Long Fei, did you hear that? Then go to hell. In that instant, Pan Sheng's body moved. Boom! The power of the Yuan Xian realm exploded outwards. One palm, Pangu creating the heavens. Boom! The energy in his palm tumbled and heavily smashed onto Long Fei's chest. His strength was incomparably thick. Boss! Long Fei, young Master Long, Fat Man Shin, and the others were so scared that their faces turned white. The power in that palm was too strong. A 9th-stage virtual immortal's cultivation could not handle the power. Long Fei did not go to defend. His body was sent flying. His chest split open, and his body was about to explode from the massive palm force. However, at this moment, a system notification rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, Blood Immortal Level 1. What did leveling up mean? Even if Long Fei's heart was pierced, as long as his health point remained a little more, he would still be able to live through the upgrade and be full of blood. Long Fei landed on the ground and continued with his blend of fairy vein S. Pan Sheng's originally proud face suddenly stiffened. His idea could feel that Long Fei's body had completely recovered following his palm strike, and the wounds from before had all healed. What was going on? Is he still human? He's still alive from one palm strike. It's fine if he doesn't die, but look at the wounds on his body. They have all healed. Could it be that Pan Sheng's power was a type of healing power? Or could it be that Pan Sheng's power is simply weak? It was too strange. The 8 Great Fairy Hall Elder didn't understand what was going on. They knew very well how strong Pan Sheng's power was just now. 10 virtual immortals, stage warriors, would also be killed in an instant, but Long Fei was fine. Many people rubbed their eyes, thinking that they were hallucinating. Long Fei sat cross-legged and healed all the wounds on his body. Long Fei's lips curled into a cold smile and said, Pan Sheng, is that all you've got? Didn't you eat in the morning? Aren't you being too weak? Very arrogant. It was extremely savage. Long Fei stared at Pan Sheng with a look of despise, hooked his fingers, and said, Come, come, you F** king came to hit me. Fusion of a Tier 5 immortal root required time. Long Fei found the fastest way to fuse them and used external force. That palm from Pan Sheng just now had allowed him to instantly fuse with the first level, and had also instantly leveled up. Every single immortal root had their own characteristics. Could this blue spirit grass's characteristic be a form of masochism? Pan Sheng was furious. With a furious roar, the Yuan Xian realm energy exploded once again, Pangu opening the sky. Buzz! An extremely powerful force exploded from his body. Thunder rumbled in the sky, as if it was going to split open at any moment. The power was too ferocious. Moreover, this time, Pan Sheng did not choose to continue attacking Long Fei's chest, but the top of his head instead. I want to see if you will die this time. It came crashing down from the sky with a single palm strike. Fat Min Chen's heart tightened again. Boss. The martial arts arena began discussing. This time, Long Fei is dead. He definitely faked it just now. Continue faking it now. Haha, let's see if he dies this time. Smash his head. The 8 Great Fairy Hall elder also revealed a satisfied smile. Pan Sheng's palm would certainly kill Long Fei and would not be able to resist it at all. 19th's eyebrows tightened as he started to worry. Because the Supreme God told him to protect Long Fei and not die. However, at this time, his heart wavered because the current God Emperor Academy had the highest qualifications. He was the leader of the Dean-S. 19th's heart sank as he thought to himself, fighting is possible, and what's more, Pan Sheng's cultivation is higher than mine. I can't stop him at all. Long Fei, go and die. Rumble. A palm struck down. Long Fei felt like his head was about to split. However, at that moment, the system beeped once again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level. Blood Immortal level 2. Another upgrade. Blue Spirit Grass Immortal Root had fused with the second layer. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, Pan Sheng, you weak chicken, can't you be a little more fierce? Your strength is not even enough to tickle Lousy. Hurry up and come hit me. The crowd was stunned. Pan Sheng was so angry that smoke rose from his head. He was completely enraged. 2 consecutive heavy attacks, yet they did not cause the slightest bit of harm to Long Fei. His heart was struck so hard that it was a complete mess, and he even started to doubt his own life. It was clearly something that could be killed in an instant. Why not? Why wasn't he injured? Disregarding all these, what did it mean for Long Fei to continuously break through after 2 heavy strikes? Do we still need to live? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.